Aphrodite's excited because I told her about the alien species.
Yeah, I seen some of that.
Hi, everybody. We are live.
Oh yeah, just catch me in half a sentence.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm hot. I'm hot in here. And YouTube is so slow. Like when you have it on something else, it's like sitting there like, oh, they're not live yet. I'm like, but we are. We're here. Anyway. All right, guys. So let's do our introductions. Alec, do you want to do your introduction first, please?
Sure. My name's Alec. I write under the pen name A.L. Williams. I'm the published author of Immortal Scars and Hopeless Scars, which are both available on Amazon. And Shameful Scars should be coming out in June. And today I'm working on my love triangle contemporary.
Yay. Hey, Meadow. Thanks for joining us. And Aphrodite's in the comments. All right. And DL?
I'm DL Stewart. I write adult medieval fantasy. My debut novel, The Battle for Medagore, is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other places. And tonight I will be working on Gift of the Child.
Nice.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm author DL Tillery, and I run the streams every Tuesday, so we can get some words in and we chat a little bit. I always like to do 3 questions, which we'll have tonight as well. Tonight I will be working on my debut novel, Cagliostro, Tale of Light Burton. It's done. However, I need to do some scene changes that I put in and edit those because it's actually been edited already. So I have to go back and do that. So I'll be working on that tonight. And if I get those scenes worked out, mostly I'll probably go back and work on book 2, which I've been writing as well. And as you guys do remember or not remember, I write horror, fantasy, romance, and everything in between. So
She writes all the things.
I write all the things and I mix them up. So I'm mixed up. So I like mixing things up. So that's just my life. I mix everything
the same
up.
way. Yeah.
I mix styles up. I'm a mixed race girl. I like mixed books. I like everything mixed.
She likes mixed men.
I do. You know,
you like mixed drinks? Wait, you don't drink.
Well, I mix juices together.
Yeah, that works.
Like pineapple, grapefruit juice. People like, what you doing? Like, don't judge me. Judging me. I might throw some strawberries up in there too. You know what's happening. So everybody, let us know what you're working on tonight, so we can see what you're doing. And I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first question of the night, so we can start and get ready for the first sprint. Let's see. Our first question, and the topic for tonight is last in line. Yes. So question number 1 is, how many projects are you currently working on? What are the working titles, and which is the last to be worked on?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I made it complicated. For myself, I am working on Cagliostro, Tale of Light Burton, book 1, and Cagliostro, Fading of the Veil, book 2, and The Room End, which I had completed, but it ended up extending a little further because it's a short story that I was going to release mid this year, but I'm thinking I'm going to release it next year. So that's one of my short horror stories, that last one. So, and that is actually the last one I'm working on because I put it on the back burner. But I have quite a few more projects than that I'm working on, that I stopped working on in order to make sure Cagliostro was where it needs to be when it's ready for release. So I'm not even going to go into those. But those are my top 3 that I am keeping in the front. How about you guys? Who wants to go next? Alec? DL?
What?
DL, you go first, and let Alec think for a minute on that one.
I am currently working on 21 different projects.
We know DL. Look at you.
Yeah.
Writing 21,000 words in a day, working on 21 projects.
Yeah. It was 20, and then the other day, I think yesterday, I finally decided to do a different one as well, or add it to my list of to-be-dones. It was a concept I had thought of for a while. I just was going to mix it into one of the stories I had already kind of decided to do. Cool. And then I was like, no, I'm just going to do a completely different story for it. And it's going to be still fantasy, my fantasy world.
Yeah.
But it's going to take place like way, way later than what my current kind of series is, or the same setting as what some of my series are.
So like future,
more kind of medieval. So it's going to be sci-fi fantasy. It's going to be
like
flying ships. lasers
Ooh.
and all that kind of stuff, more technology based, but still fantasy based.
Lots of
Oh,
pieces.
yeah, I can't wait for that.
So,
I imagine that one's going to be long. It's going to be like 200,000 fucking
Oh my
words.
goodness.
yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be that long. I'm going to do like a crime mystery, like a murder mystery.
Oh, I'm writing one of those too.
That's how it's going to be.
I like
I'm
that.
still trying to figure out exactly all the puzzle pieces,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be sci-fi fantasy murder mystery.
That sounds cool.
I like
But-
that. I like to see DL's rendition of that. Like, I wonder what's happening with that. It's going to be good stuff.
So have 21 projects currently.
Nice.
The titles, I started typing them up, trying to all right, make sure I remember all of them. But the main ones right now are Sovereign Duties, which is book 2 in my Metagore series, Rise of Power, which is book 3 in my Metagore series. And I'm doing The Gift of a Child and The Ballad of a Child, which is companion novels of each other.
Mhm.
I'm doing for camp now, and then again in July.
Yeah.
And then my memoir, which is Slightly Altered True Identities. Those are my main, I guess,
Awesome.
my 5 main
Which
focuses
one
right
is
now.
your last one that you work on? Let's say you work on them in a chronological order, maybe, but like which one would be the least one you would work on in that setting?
Out of the 21, I would say probably there's 2 series I plan on doing as my pen name, Peter Gracie.
Yeah.
One is my Junkies series, which is Dirt Junkies and Paint Junkies. It's kind of like more redneck, demolition derby, banger racing and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So either that or my, I guess, kind of like a religious fantasy, whatever, about the fall of Lucifer and Revelations and all that stuff. That series. So one of those 2 would probably be the ones on the farthest back there.
Awesome. I want to read that one. I always actually like reading different takes on Lucifer's story. And I know Aphrodite has one as well, and Alec has one out. So I'm reading that one now. That one's actually pretty good. Actually, Alec, I'm about 45% done your book.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'm getting there. So I didn't get to read yesterday. But when I do read, I usually read at least like 20-30% every time.
Okay.
So I'm pretty usually a fast reader. So if I didn't like finish it, it's because I probably didn't get a chance to read again. Because when I read in big chunks.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
so
the same way. Like when I do read, I sometimes will finish a whole book if it's short enough.
That's me. I mean, I'm kind of sad about it. I used to be able to read more, like have time to read. Now I'm not making time because you can have time for anything, but I haven't been making time. And actually, I'm kind of happy that I've been making time to read indie authors like you guys. So I actually, finished both of DL's books, and then I'm reading this one now, and I've read a few of your other things that you sent me. So I'm actually glad I'm reading a lot of indie authors, which I never used to do in the past. Because I just didn't know, it was a thing. Especially back in the day when I was like, oh, I want to be a traditional blah, blah, blah author. I didn't even think about what was that. Self-publishing became a big thing. So you had a lot more people to read, honestly, which is good. Because a lot of hidden gems out there. A lot of hidden gems. All right. Alec, are you ready to answer this question yet? Or I can read the comments. Okay, cool. Go for it.
It's gonna be a long discussion. So I have in my Scars series, they're actually coming out in different chunks. I don't know how much each chunk is how many books each chunk's going to be. But the one that I'm working on now has 8 books. Then I'll have another chunk of maybe 8 to 10 books. Okay. And that one's going to be set with Egyptian stuff. And then the next chunk is Greek. So then I have that series that's like somewhere between 23 to 30 bucks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So we know we expect a lot from you then.
Yeah. And then I have another series that's called The Unsolved Cases of Waverly Hills. Mm-hmm. And that's a 5-book series, which includes The Tragedy of Charles, The Truth About Kennedy, The Pursuit of Simon, and then The Peculiar Case of Jonathan. And there's another one in there. I just can't remember what the title was.
Okay. And
then I have a Little Mermaid retelling.
Yay.
An Alice in Wonderland retelling.
Yes. I
have The Rebirth of Kratos, which is my sci-fi, or Kratos. Yeah, Kratos, which each book, it went from being 1 book, and now I'm making it 5. So it goes.
That happens. They grow sometimes.
It goes. I can't even right now. Like, I just can't even.
That's okay. You got like a lot, so I don't expect you to name all of them.
Oh yeah. Well, the 5 books in this all start with R, so it's revived, returned, repressed, and rebirth.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah. So
Pattern-based thing.
I have a lot of books.
Yeah, I didn't even bother even naming all the projects I have. I just like stuck with my top 3 that I'm working on because the other ones all have started, but I set them on back burner. I have a lot of horror stuff that I write, and I have a horror compilation which has about 24, 25 stories in it. That was one when I had the cover like for X amount of years ago. So that one right there is like 24 stories. They're short stories, but still. And then The Room Within is standalone, shockingly. I was going to put it in there first, but I was like, nah, it's got a little longer. And then I don't even want to talk about all the stuff I got on the back burner. Because all the stuff that I've written over the years, I've kept it, and I plan on publishing them all. But it's just too many to name. But which one is your last one? Which one's like the one that you work on the least or would work on the least? It would be the last in line.
The last in line is probably the Little Mermaid retelling.
Okay.
Like I said, there was one more, and that's the one I'm working on tonight. That working title is Three's a Crowd, but I don't like that title. But that's just the working title right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like only reason I named so many of them is because I'm so excited about every single one of them.
Dude, I feel you though. I name all my stuff like my stuff usually has names like right away, and it might actually have a cover. I have a cover problem.
Yeah.
So I might actually have a cover, or I see a cover, and I may purchase a cover based on that story. So if you go like all the covers I've purchased over the last year, then I have even more stories that So yeah, I feel you on that. The names, yes.
And the thing is, I bounce around a lot. Like I'll like my focus is the Scar series up until book 4 this year, but I'm gonna go all the way to book 5 because book 5 is gonna be published in January of next year. I'm gonna stop and work on something else, and then bring out book 6, 7, 8 a little bit later in 2021.
I get you.
Because I followed some of Sarah Cannon's advice to make sure you at least have 5, and then you can slow down on the series. Right.
Yeah, if it's going to be like, because I don't know how long the books are, because I'm reading the new one, like digital form, which is new for me to do that. So I only actually read, Aphrodite's, yours, and DL's digitally. I don't really usually read my books digitally. And I read DL's first book physical. But I can't really tell how long your book is yet, because when you read it I'm reading it on Kindle or whatever, and it doesn't really have like a page count really. It has like a percentage, and it has like a lot. So it's like, oh, you're in lot blah 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 100 something, and it goes up to 2000 and something, and it goes like this percentage or whatever. And I'm like, I have no idea how many pages it is. So I just
will tell you in paperback, book 1 is like 200 and some pages. Book 3 is 300 and some pages.
Okay.
Or book 2, sorry. So my books usually sit around 300 to 200 pages because they're short novels.
Yeah.
So they're not going to take very long to read. That's why I wanted to have it.
Yeah, that depends on what you're talking about, though. Because I heard some people say it still take them a while to read a novel that's 200-300 pages.
True.
Some people are just slower readers. Like DL's like me, but he be giving people like 500 page fucking novels.
I know, right?
I'm like, I'll read slow. I'm read a small book.
I read slow, but I like to stay on the same story for a while. So
listen to you.
Feels like I've engulfed into the environment longer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I eat stories like freaking Cookie Monster. I'll just go through stories.
Yeah, your book. I didn't read it in about a day or so, but when I was reading, when I started reading it, it was like I was on chapter 5 probably, and then I'd stop when I was on chapter 13. So I was just going straight through it. I'm like, this is getting interesting. So I'm like, and you try to sit there and predict what's gonna happen. Like, I know what he's gonna do.
I love having ridiculous things happen in my books. I just do.
I know you do. So I'm waiting. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Something gonna happen here. Something crazy gonna happen. But yeah, so that's good. Because I knew all of us that question would be very loaded for us, because I know we all write a lot of different stories and a lot of stories at one time. All right, so it's 8:15, so let's go ahead and jump on our first sprint of the night. I'm going to go ahead and read the comments, so you guys go ahead and prepare for the sprint. We're going to do 15 minutes, so we will come back at 8:30, but I want to go ahead and read you guys' reply to the question. So I am starting the ticker technically. So you don't have to wait for me. Try and keep us on track on time. All right. Meadow said, I'm reworking my outline of the book I'm currently drafting. Cool. I'll put that up there so I can see. Aphrodite said, working on 6 books. This is for question 1. The Gemini Rising, all I need, worshipped, embraced, last is stained. Nice. I know stained, yeah.
I just I know I bounce around so much with what I'm working on that I get really excited. It just depends on the day and what I'm reading too.
That's how I am.
I used to do that a lot, but I felt that I wasn't finishing anything.
Yeah.
So when I focused on Cagliostro,
I focused on just 2 or 3 heavily. So I'm just jumping around between those.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I ain't talking about DL because DL. Writing a bajillion words in one sprint and stuff. So it's it would matter if you did jump around.
Me and Danette are just going to be
burn out
heavy.
just because
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I know. We talk about people write normal amounts of words.
Yeah. DL.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Yeah, we know that DL.
Yeah.
Meadow said, I'm only working on one project at the moment. Yeah, I learned to do that a little bit. Aphrodite said, I also have a secret project, but I can't talk about it. I will be doing that one in between the others. It's a back burner project, so it's not even a true book yet. Yes, me too. I have one of those. Wait, you can do you mean currently working on, not just stuff I plan to work on, correct? Yeah, technically stuff that you're working on maybe, but you may go to it now and then to mess with it or something like that, Aphrodite. I know we be all day for stuff that's on the back burner because that's why I need ball mention. That is what you're currently working on, because some people do jump between projects, even if it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the case may be. So that's what the question is pretty much based around. I listened to DL's novel. My boyfriend did a great job. All right.
I still need to pay him for it.
Yeah, I'm kind of holding off on finishing DL's book because I want to listen to it when I'm working on a high fantasy so he can inspire me to write one.
When I get that audio book, I'm listening to that again.
I
read the book already, but definitely gonna listen to that. And I'll be waiting very impatiently.
I started the audio
book. Second book gets an audio book.
I listened to part of the audiobook because he sent me a file, and the guy does so good with accents.
Dude,
it's
ridiculous.
Really
he's a bajillion people in one.
Yeah, and you can't tell it's him. He's that good.
Yeah, I found the guy who I'm gonna get to do my book, Adam Gold. He's very fucking good and very attractive too. Which is a double.
Isn't he British?
He is, but he does British accents. But I believe he is. Yeah, I wanted a British guy. So because I wanted him to play Cagliostro. So, but he could do all the other males in the book, which is a plus. So I'm going to do that. But I need a female. So I want a female to do the female parts of Allison, and she could do whoever the other females in the book happen to be. So
see, I need to find sexy black men who have a subtle Southern accent, and that's very hard to find.
Did you check audio? Did you check on there? Where we find people to do audio?
I just haven't taken the time. I'm just worried there aren't any.
Look up people based on their accent, and then you can look them up and see if they want a certain race or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they don't even have to be a certain race if they can just sound like.
You can look up Southern accent. You can look up Southern accent. I mean, I've seen the people they play different voices, different races based on that accents and location and stuff like that. So, you can look on there. You can find a bunch of stuff.
Okay, I'll have to stop being.
ACX got a very detailed search.
Yep, they do very detailed search.
Do age, the dialects, all kinds of different shit. How you want it to be spoken, if it's supposed to be smooth, soothing type voice, or
because I'm worried about it because I already have
monotone, or if you want it more energetic.
Wendy.
I would just need one that has royalty share, just because I can't pay them straight out, and I really want to get them because I already have someone for book 3. Cordy's going to voice Haley in book 3. So I need book 2 and 1 first.
That's right. Michaela, actually, I haven't seen you on our stream before. So welcome. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I believe that is Michaela. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to make sure I'm saying it right. So you are working on the script season 1, episode 4 of my audio drama, Shadows of Sugar Hall. Oh, awesome. I like that name. It sounds very intriguing. Very intriguing. I hope you come back to our next stream as well. I like to see new faces. So please subscribe and ring the bell so you know when we are doing this. We usually do this every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And you'll see DL here and AL with me and Aphrodite Lee, who's in the comments now. So very fun crew we have here.
We talk too much sometimes.
We have a lot of talking, but it's actually good author talking and good writer talking. So people can learn a lot. They can, we can learn a lot from them, and we can pass around stuff. It gets some good juices flowing. And we are currently in sprint, but I was still reading everybody's comments. I didn't want to miss anybody and get too far behind. So we jump back in to do the next question at 8:30. So you can go ahead and write. We are still writing, but I'm hosting, so I might skip out on writing sometimes.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and join in on the writing, and we will be back. We're about to go radio silence until 8:30. Talk to you guys soon. I'll check the comments when I get back. And we're back. Do-do-do. I don't know how much you guys would have gotten that time because we talked a part about Sprint.
I got like a sentence or two.
That works. Next time we won't talk. But I was trying to read these comments, so that we should be good next time. All right. DL, would you get like 10,000 words? Let me stop.
No, I got 163.
Nice.
Petty. I'm with you there.
Aphrodite says, I'm like Stewie. I get more down with more than one project to do. I have 3 tabs open now. You're so funny.
See, that's the thing with me. Is just like I have so many projects, but I'm only like rotating through like maybe 4 of them at a time.
Right?
Yeah. I do that unless I just get like an irking to go and do something. Like that new project that came up with yesterday. So now I'll probably be working on that off and on for a little bit.
And that's what happened
with the actual idea, plot, and all that stuff. I know I want it to be like a murder mystery, but I don't really know exactly how or anything like that, or the characters. It's been kind of world building, especially since it's going to be more science fiction and futuristic and stuff. Kind of world building on that a little bit right now.
See, that's how I was with my science fiction. I wasn't writing the other day because I just couldn't make myself do it. So I started world building and building characters. And
yeah, I haven't got to characters yet. I've just been strictly world building right now.
Well, my 2 main characters are the only ones I've really figured out. I still have minor characters that haven't been fully figured out.
Ask me next week. I'll probably have that figured out.
I'm gonna hold you to that. I'll ask you next week.
No, more likely I'll probably forget about it in a couple of days. You'll ask me, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's like,
oh yeah, that's what I'll be doing tonight. But I know the location or which land, since I knew I wanted to eventually write some story dealing with each of the lands in my world. And since it's this entire planet with like 18 continents or whatever, so I got that part figured out.
Okay.
So Michaela, I also need to find voiceover actor, artist. Yeah, we all do. Well, except for DL, he has this. But I have a feeling it's going to people I know, rather than professionals. Laugh out loud. Well, you know. Sometimes people become professional because actually anybody can go on there if they put up their thing and stuff. So there's a lot of people that can do voice acting that's not, considered professional, but then they can become professional because they're getting paid to do it. So,
right.
You know what I mean? So my older brother, I told him he should do it because he does voices ridiculously. Like he could be an old lady, he could be a little boy, little girl. Like he's really good. So I told him he could be monsters and shit. So.
Well, you should hear Cordy. She's very good at the voice acting.
I think people should do it. Like if they're good at it, hey, go. Try, you know what I'm saying?
I could never
be trying it for my memoir, but I don't know.
Oh, cool. I got your name correct. Yay me. I just never seen the name spelled, but I know someone with the name of Kyla, but I just had never seen it spelled. So I assume from me knowing my language, I should be able to say that. Oh yeah, DL Aphrodite from all2. Yep, cool. I look like Lady Godiva. Cool, I'll take that. I will take that. I will not say
every time someone says Lady Godiva, I think of that episode of Charmed with Phoebe riding the horse in the middle.
I know, right? That's when Lady Godiva was my mom's belly dance name because a lot of us have stage names. When she was in my troupe, I gave her the name Lady Godiva because her hair is like all the way down to her feet. And I was like, oh, you can be Lady Godiva. That's gonna be your dance stage name. Yeah, all I need is a horse. Yeah, I'd love to get a horse, but hey. Oh, cool.
Every time I hear Lady Godiva now, I think of the Dr. Seuss book about it.
Oh, yeah, right? Everybody read that one, probably. Hey, Haley. 168, cool. Also, hi. Yep. And Aphrodite said, editing a video. Kylie said, I got 248, but it didn't start writing until the last 5 minutes. Yeah, you're fast. Oh, you're one of those fast ones, aren't you?
Oh my God, we're done with you all. Done.
You heard Allie. We're done with you.
Get out.
Those fast writing. I just don't know how many people in my area will be great at Southern accents here in New York City. Yeah, well, that's true. But you can look on, or you can get a professional. What's that? What's that website? I can't remember. Off the top of my head.
ACX.
Yeah, ACX. So they have a very amazing search engine. You can literally just be like Southern accents and be like, there you go, male, female, or whatever. Or the guys, people could do cross like male, female could do male. So some people do that. So you could do that.
I think you can even search for that in the search thing. I think it says male doing female or reading female or whatever.
Yep. So you can actually look up. It's pretty good search engine, I gotta say.
And it's not just Southern. You can get like Southern Texas, Southern Arkansas, Southern.
Yeah, a lot of different accents. Like for real, I was like, what?
You get very nitpicky if you want.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
As long as they take royalty share, I don't care.
That's right.
That's what I was going to do, and then after I found mine, I was like, oh, I want him, so I went ahead and went with the royalty plus.
I just can't afford it. Like, if it's not that I don't want to do it.
I can't either. That's why I haven't paid them yet. I'm waiting for my taxes or something.
Michaela, yeah, it is for audiobooks. I'm sorry. That's what you were talking about. Voice actors for audiobooks. You might be talking about voice actors for like an animated film, maybe. I wasn't sure.
You can still get on there and look for them.
Yeah,
I got to do mine. Like video games,
right? They do video games and stuff on there. Like the people are just voice actors, really. I mean, they still could do.
I think if you go through like the contract on ACX, it's Audible or whatever. But I mean, you can get on there and look for them.
Yeah, because they could do it either way. Because I mean, if you're going to be like, they
money,
record it, right?
They money. I don't think they're going to say no.
Right.
The guy that does mine, he does audiobooks. He does like video game voiceovers.
Pretty much the animated part,
acting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Commercial voices, radio commercials, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, you said you are doing it's an audio drama script. Yeah, but they're voice actors, so they could do that. It's just that it's not just for books. I mean, I'm sure you'd have to like talk to them about it.
Sorry.
Oh, you could. I'm sure you can go in and talk to them about it. So, but yeah, I think I'm sure that could work because they're technically just voice actors. So whatever you would need that for, I mean, it's a way to find them because most of the people when they're doing like audio books, however, they're voice actors, so they can do that. A lot of those people's portfolio say like video games, animated stuff, and all kinds of stuff. So.
I'm kind of tempted to have my whole series with someone with a British accent just because I love listening to audio books with British accents.
Dude, I know. I had to make Cagliostro have one. I decided to.
But my books are not set anywhere where it would make sense. So
I can get away with it because Cagliostro being so old, and
I can get away with it with Lucifer, possibly. That's about it.
You could get away with
or Gabriel.
Yeah, any of the angels you could.
I might do
just
it
because they can do what they want.
So they can sound however the fuck they want.
That's what I sound like. It'd be like
what you
call it, the characters from Lord of the Rings. Like Gandalf is not technically like, oh, I'm a human who's a wizard. He's really not. He's really like an angelic being in their world. What the angelic beings are, and then they come down and they pretty much whatever form that they choose, whether they become in the form of elves or humanistic type forms or whatever. So technically, he could have sounded or looked like whatever. So you could be in that type of instance. So Lucifer and them could be like have a British accent or Southern accent or whatever at the time that they're here. So,
well, I know Gabriel's very pretentious, so I could see Gabriel having a British accent very well.
Yeah, this is very possible. You never know what's gonna happen with Gabriel though. Like, I don't know.
Fucking
Gabriel could just come be anything. Like, it's quite versatile. Right, quite versatile, Gabriel.
And extra, but monotoned way.
Yeah. Very true. All right, so let's go on to the second question of the night. Question number 2. And your current work in progress, who's the character that finishes last? If you get my drift.
I'm not sure what you mean because that could be taken a lot of different ways.
Not your way, Alec. You know what I mean. In an erotic way.
I can't.
That person probably would win. But anyway, but yeah, so the person that finished last, like they say, oh, good guys finish last, but we're not gonna necessarily have to attach the good guy thing to it. Person that finishes last, you know what I mean? Like the one that just gets the short end of the fucking stick all the time type of person, So, your current work in progress. If there's a person in your book that's like that, it might be, maybe it's not. But who do you think gets the short end of the stick?
And the book I'm working on right now, The Three's a Crowd, that would probably be Daniela, but it's her own doing.
It could be your own, and most of the time might be your own choices that you make, you know what I mean? So yeah, that counts. What about you, Dio?
I don't know about any of the ones I'm working on, really.
Mm-hmm.
I know for the first book that's published, I would say Cornelius.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
But
yeah,
after that, I don't really know.
Oh, that's fine. You can use that too. But yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Definitely Cornelius.
See, me with my characters, in most of the books that I write, my people who finish last usually get a redemption because I don't really believe that someone's 100% bad all the time.
Yeah, I mean, when you finish last, you might not be bad anyway, but some shit just doesn't work out for you. And it seems like shit's always coming at you, even though you're not necessarily doing anything wrong to get the shit that's thrown at you. So those type of people count too.
But I like Darius for book 2 with some of the stuff that happened to him.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true too.
Gabriel in book 1.
Oh, okay.
Book 2, I don't want to spoil it for people who might want to read it, but somebody. You already know who does.
Exactly. But yeah, we won't tell them. I guess in mine, I would say, who finishes last? I would say, well, in book 1, I guess Catherine probably. I would say that.
Like just Catherine.
I don't like her, but I think Catherine would finish last because of her situation. And she's not even overly prominent in the first book. She's very important to the story, but she's like, yeah. So I would say her. I was going to say Duncan, but you don't get to learn enough about him to even say he finishes last yet. So book 1, definitely, which is what I'm finishing working on. So I would definitely say Catherine for book 1. But it's not like she doesn't deserve to finish last. Just saying.
Oh, so I forgot to mention something. It was hilarious, but like one of my characters, it's a minor character. He owns a bar, and he also owns a construction company. I came up with him, and I swear he's based off of Stewie.
Oh, Stewie, look at you. People both think so.
Because he's like, I'll be all right. Everything's good. You need to stop acting like an idiot, but everything's good.
I mean, inspiration to all.
He's you when you're 60.
I'm gonna be one of those grumpy old men that's always cussing and ranting and everything. About like how I am now, just old, but yeah.
There's an old version of you right now, right?
You'll be sitting there, and your wife, when she's 60, will be like trying to feed everybody. Like, you don't eat enough.
Oh, I don't eat because of your fucking cooking. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
See, pizza or some shit.
Exactly the married couple in my book.
No, I was listening to this comedian one time. He's talking about like a joke.
Oh, you're baking cookies. Yum, yum, yum.
And he was talking about like this old couple. He's like, I always want to be that old couple you see walking down the street where the guy's like 10 feet ahead of his wife, just ran and raving. She's like, what'd you say? I ain't say nothing to you. She's a stupid bitch. Just started fucking mumbling her.
That's love, though. That is love when they can do that and say it again.
That's relationship goals right there.
That is.
Fucking
I do that to my wife every so often. I'll say something or I'll become mumbling to myself and she'll be like, what? I ain't say nothing to you. And just keep going.
Exactly. See, I told you, you are just like Kate and Larry. That's their name in my book.
Oh, that's too funny. Everybody said, and all I need, it would be Mercedes. She is a hot mess. Gotta let hot mess characters.
All your characters are hot messes.
Yeah. And Meadows said Ambrosia. He always puts everyone else before himself. Well, that can definitely make you finish last. No lie.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Listen to the song Tears of Gold.
Tears of Gold.
It's a really good song.
Let's see. After I said that's pretty much the only one who truly stays in booked up mode for a minute. But she does get her stuff together ultimately, but it takes a lot for her to get there. Yeah, well. Are you were gonna say Duncan too? Yeah, it could be Duncan, definitely, but just not book one. Anyway. We'll see what happens in the other books about his life. So
My characters are all a hot mess. Like
you like your characters being a hot mess, and then they become amazing, not hot messes later.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, there's still a little bit of hot mess, but
everybody's a little hot mess. He's gonna be like always like a lot of hot mess, but you know, we can get you together at some point and be only a little hot mess. It's okay.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, Stewie is always so in trouble.
All right.
I mean, I don't know what he did this time, but it's something, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. Blame Stewie. Yeah, probably.
Oh my goodness me.
I'll take the blame.
Look at her.
Whitey boy.
What the fuck? That's too funny. You're much to my cringing.
Oh my goodness.
Too funny.
I was gonna say, if we're talking about what character finishes last, me. Shit always happens to me in real life.
Yeah, real life is tough for a lot of people, man.
You guys didn't even like. I don't know if you saw my post, but I lost 6 years worth of artwork. It's
I remember when you posted that. I was
so freaking.
I was cry for you, and this wasn't even my stuff.
Oh, no, I'm talking about today, like physical artwork. Physical drawings from 6 years of work is gone.
How did you lose the physical drawings?
Well, it's because when I lived at my apartment when I first started doing AuthorTube, and then I broke my ankle and I had to move. I had people helping me move. Well, some of the stuff got left behind, and then the apartment got broken into before I could go back for the rest of my stuff.
Oh, you fucking serious.
6 years worth of artwork is just gone.
Oh.
Thousands of dollars of artwork.
Dude, no. Ugh, I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
Thankfully, I had therapy today, so my therapist could talk me down from punching a wall. But
flipping tables and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to flip my table.
Yeah, like tables, like please, could you not? I'm not gonna make it again.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't be able to flip it because it's against the wall, so it would just smack me in the face. But I was tempted.
Like, damn the results. I'm just gonna flip this table anyway. That's terrible. Yeah,
so like I said, shit happens to me constantly.
Yeah, I think it's like shit that happens to people, man. Like it's just it's how we deal with it when it happens, though, that counts. Because we can't control when shit happens. Like you had no control over that because you had a broken fucking. You couldn't go get it yourself. Just why you had help. You know what I mean? And even when people doing stuff themselves when they're moving, they forget stuff. Yeah. But most of your important stuff you remember. But I mean, even I forgot things when I moved. I'm like, I wish I would have brought that with me, and I didn't leave it, but I did. So I mean, it happens. Even when you're organized, you can leave something behind, and you just pray that it's not something very important that you cannot replace, like art work that cannot be done again because art. That's how art works. Once you make it, it's made, and that's it. It's not like
that's the hard part,
you know.
Like it's like I can replace clothes, I can replace all the other stuff that was stolen, but the artwork I can't, and that's what drives me insane.
Yeah, my older brother felt that way because he was in School of the Arts and he had into a lot of competitions there and won, and he had like stuff in his locker that like he had stuff in the locker and he had to bring it home when he was going to leave. But somebody broke into his locker and stole all of his artwork out of it.
Yeah,
so you can't get that stuff back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the messed up part is like the only reason I realized it was gone is because I got paid for some artwork. So something good happens, and then seconds later something bad happens. So
something you. So, but a good thing happened, probably to prepare you for the bad thing that happens.
Cushion the fall.
Right. I mean it would have been a lot worse. So you have to kind of look at the good and the bad. Like, okay, so that happened. You didn't know it had happened, but once you found out it happened, something good had already happened in order to cushion the fact that the bad thing happened.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of take it that way. Probably change the shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's probably why I wasn't as angry as I could have been.
Right? Exactly. So all right, so we can go ahead and do another sprint because it's 8:50, and we will come back at 5 minutes after 9. So let's go ahead and jump on a 15-minute sprint. 3, 2, 1, and right. See you in 15. And we're back. 1 minute got away from me there. How'd everyone do? I'm going to check the comments while you guys let me know.
I got 100 and not many because I'm having a hard time like picking up from where I left off in this manuscript.
That's fine. Still got some words.
Yeah.
I was going to write, but not. I'm trying to get through my editor's notes for the edit. I don't know if her and I are going to work together again.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't think we're going to click. I just don't think so. Because some of the stuff the way she edits or the way she leaves her notes, it's not really what I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, nah.
It's a trial and error with editors.
Of course it is. She was very expensive though, so that's
that's
a little annoyance. But that's fine. I mean, she still edited the book. However, some stuff she didn't edit because like I don't know if she has like I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not sure if she has, and I'm not sure if it's something you should have as an editor. So I'm gonna just say it, but not necessarily something that editors need to have or anything, because I couldn't know that. Common sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like okay, she edited the book, but at the beginning of the book, because when you type words up, sometimes the autocorrect will correct the word with the closest thing, whatever your error was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if the sentence doesn't make sense, but it makes sense while reading it, because when I'm reading, if a person did spell a word wrong or the wrong word was in that place, I would not leave that word because I could figure out what they meant. So at the beginning, like when I put that 7 lines last night on my Facebook wall, and it says charred trees.
Yeah.
When I typed it up and sent it to her, it must have like misspelled, because I must probably typed it too fast and I misspelled it, and it put a word that exists, but it's like a name. It was like chartered or something. Probably put chartered or whatever.
Yeah.
It said charred. She did not change it, and didn't even make a note of it. So I'm like, did the word not register to you that I was saying charred trees because I said burned animal corpses? The char did not register in your head that's what I probably meant. I mean, I'm not asking you to be a psychic or anything. I know you're just an editor, but I am paying you to fix it.
Well, I mean, there's context clues.
Right, it's context clue. So you missed the context clue. Okay, that's fine. I'm going through her notes and stuff. One thing she said, and they're kind of like, I was like, I don't know if we're going to mesh, because she said, I had a line in there that the female character said, and her note wasn't really relevant, in my opinion, for an editor to do. So she says, where is it? I want other people to hear it, so I won't be just like, it's just me, maybe just being like,
Yeah.
She said it was about mothers, because Ali Astro mother, everyone knows his mother isn't alive. And when Allison finds out, and he talks about it, she says, I'm sorry, even though it was a long time ago. Even though it was a long time ago, it's something that no one should have to experience, losing a mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And her note says, well, almost everyone loses their mother, so.
Wait, what?
So like everyone pretty much loses a mother. So as if it wasn't relevant for Allison to say that. And she like cuts out it's like her edit was for her to edit out the part where what Allison says is something that no one should have to experience. It doesn't matter if our fathers or mothers die. Saying that as a person who may be sympathetic or overly sympathetic with people who lose parents or not, because she lost her mother in the story, which at this point, like she lost her mother, so she's very sympathetic to people who lose parents. And it's not like he lost his mother when she was like 89 or something. They're supernatural, first off, but he's not like he lost his mother because his mother was like, oh, I'm old and I died. She got murdered. Her mother also gets murdered. So she's relating that and feels the pain of losing your mother. And she said no one should have to experience that. Someone can say that, because they may be emotional about that subject. So her saying that was kind of like,
well, I mean, that doesn't make any sense because when you're giving someone validation when they're having a hard time, you say stuff like that. Yes, it's common sense. Obviously, no one should, but you'll still say it to give them
like, you
comfort.
already know that, yes, I wouldn't likely lose my mother and my father and my life expand. However, it doesn't change the fact that no one should have to go through it. How many of us wish that no one just didn't die from stuff? Like, you had to lose them. We all know that it's part of life and we die, but that doesn't change the fact that we feel that it'd be nice if we didn't have to lose our parents or somebody we love. So someone saying that isn't relevant to the fact that it will still happen. You know, so I didn't really care for her note on that because to me, it doesn't, I don't think we're going to mesh as people. And you kind of have to mesh with your editor, I believe, in the end. So,
well, you have to mesh with like most of the people you're working with. Like, there's beta readers that I won't employ again because, or not employ, but won't ask for again because the way they think doesn't mesh with my writing style.
And that's usually how it goes with editors when you're choosing your editors. But anyway, I got off on a tangent about that, but that's what I'm trying to go through the editing notes. I knew that I was going to go through her notes. I'm just reading her critique because she only focused on my female character in the book because that's what she probably should into, female leads. But Cagliostro was the main character, and she focused on Allison in almost all her critique notes except for a little teeny bit. And I'm like, I didn't appreciate that either because I needed you to critique the entire story as a whole, not you liking Allison. So that was kind of disappointing too, but that's just how it goes. But she still edited the book for me. I'm going to have to go back and change stuff. I realize this because of some of the stuff I don't agree with her cutting out. Because if you just cut out that part of the sentence because you don't think that someone should mention that it's not, you know, it's not something that we should go through to lose our mothers because it's two people who lost their mothers to someone killing them, then that's her opinion. That's not something that's
that's something a beta reader should be saying.
Right. That's not something grammatically wrong. It wasn't anything that, like it was unnecessary. Is what she's trying to say. It was unnecessary to you.
There's a lot of things in books that are not necessary, but that's not your book.
Right. I need you to edit it something that's very relevant to it. No, and I know Eva, hi, thanks for joining. Yeah, I know you asking me, did she give a different? No, she did not in this instance. She did not give something otherwise. She just cut it and was like, well, I don't really like this part. So, but I don't know.
Every editor's different. And I've noticed that, like, I mean, thankfully, my second editor didn't do this. But you have to find editors that are not reading it as if they're beta readers. They need to read it as their editors. Those are two different things.
And I found my editor. Actually, I researched online and stuff, and then I connected with her through Twitter after I found her on like just the internet when I was searching. So very well recommended. Done a lot of work. But again, that doesn't mean we're going to mesh personality wise. And I think you really need to with your editors if they're going to stick with you for a while for a few series. So I'm going to probably not use her again. This from going through her notes. I don't really care for it. I know how much work I'm probably going to have to go back through and change because I'm not going to like what she changed possibly. Just from her critique alone. Her critique was good for us. Like she liked the book, so it had a very interesting story. But she focused too much on Allison for me. And that's just because it was her choice too, because she liked that character. But as my editor, critique edit, I needed you to focus on every character in the book to also tell me, does this character a waste of time? Does this character need to be gone? Everything about Cagliostro, everything about Allison, not just who you liked. I'm not coming to you as you being a reader. I'm coming to you as an editor and critique it. I have beta readers and alphas for that. I don't need you for that. I'm paying you. Yep. So, you know, that's a little annoying to me. And her personality is not working with mine. Her personality seems a bit too, I don't know. Just not, I don't know. I won't say chill. Now, I don't expect you to be chill because I paid you, but it's coming off a little snarky. Like her notes, they're coming off snarky, and I don't really care for snarky people. So
yeah, not when you're doing a job you're paid for.
Yeah, and I paid you very well, so I'm a little annoyed with your attitude, honestly. So anyway, yeah, Michaela, I know. We the project that she was doing was finished, so I already paid her. I got the book back and all that jazz. So technically, no, we're not presently working together because you can change the editor to another editor for the same series. Like it's 3 books to this series, but I really, from what I'm reading, she's not going to be the editor for book 2.
Yeah. Well,
So
the way that I've figured out, because it took me a trial and error, is I like separate jobs for separate people so that each person can focus on one specific thing. So like my alpha reader focuses on making sure my dumpster fire is actually a good book.
exactly.
My beta readers let me know if it's a good enough book to be on the shelves. And my editor fucking fixes my word choice and my grammar.
Yeah.
That's where I separate everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I know what I'm saying, like, because some of the stuff she said, she was more like, and the way she words stuff is more on the like this should be cut type of thing more than is this dialogue necessary. She did question some stuff like, I don't think this needs to be there, or like, because I did a revision. So some of the stuff in my book, I wanted her to catch it if I missed something that was part of the first version and when I did a revision. So I let her know ahead of time, this is a revision. So there might be some things in here that don't click with the story because it needs to be cut out because that is not relevant. And you can clearly tell which wouldn't be. Like when Cagliostro used to be, when I first wrote the first version of the book, he was a vampire predominantly, but he is not now. And so she found the part in there that had mentioned vampire, but instead of her editing it out or just putting a note saying, you left vampire in here, and I know you said he wasn't a vampire. She did it more in a way that was like, I thought that Cagliostro wasn't a vampire. Like that. I'm like, you kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, but just the way you word and things is pissing me off a little bit. But that's cool. Whatever. Anyway, so.
Yeah, working with people's hard, guys. Working with people's hard.
I like my editor. He had like a little snarky attitude at times, but we kind of meshed.
You don't give a shit.
But I'm not really the person. Especially if I paid you real good.
You're not the one.
If you're gonna snark,
it was like more. I think you kind of knew how I was already because we had talked like on Facebook a little bit beforehand and stuff. So he kind of knew I would probably be a little bit more lenient about stuff. But I'll be like, my eyes went across the room or his eyes went across the room, and he just like comments like, "Wow, people eyes popping out, rolling across the room now." And then he'd like also comment, his vision went across the room or something.
Oh my god, that reminds me of book 2. I had Meadow and Jace was my editor, and they would put comments in that because I would say like "shook me head" instead of "shook my head." So then Jace would go R like a pirate. So that kind of snarky stuff that makes you laugh in between.
Yeah, that's how he was. I mean, he wasn't like really harsh, but I mean, just like some common stuff. He just kind of did a little bit of my okay.
But it doesn't sound like your editor, Danette, was making jokes. She was just being snarky.
Yeah, not making jokes. I don't know if she can make jokes or not, but she didn't really make jokes when she was doing it. But I think she's too used to working with people who go traditional too. I gotta put that out. I think that's what, because when she, even though I already told her that I was self-publishing, but she said in the thing like something about in the critique, she said, "Oh, if you're going to be querying or something, this wouldn't work." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm not querying because I don't care about that. Like. No, we don't need to these days. Like, I don't have to worry about the traditional publishing walls of you're not getting in type of thing. And because I said so and I don't like your thing. So, no, I'm not, that's not a really thing. I already told you that. So you just didn't remember or whatever. But I already knew, like, once we already were working together that like she wasn't we're not like mesh like people mesh or whatever, which I think it might be important. I mean, studying about editors, they said that you need to mesh with your editor in that way in order to keep the relationship open for them to do your books. It just has to happen. And it's hard to do when you talk about you didn't ever meet the person. That's why they talk about editors. You can try to meet them, it's better. But of course, in today's world, that's not always going to happen. But I know now a little bit better to do the research on a more personal level as well as the, their credentials and stuff too. But I just...
One thing I learned from the different parts of like different people going through my manuscripts is that if you don't mesh as a person with that editor or that beta reader, then they're not going to understand where you're coming from and what you meant.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, I just think since it's my first experience with an editor too, that I didn't know what to expect either. So that could be part of it as well. and I'm a person that's very open to criticize, and I paid you to criticize it. So that's not what it is. It's just that I expected you to do more, or I didn't understand what the job editor was. She did edit it where, you know, it shows you, because, you know, if you have Word, then it shows you what she took out, deleted, what was there, was no longer there technically. And then I have another version that just shows it, doesn't show it with what she edited, but it's just completely edited or whatever. So that way I can match them up and then see what I want to put back, what I don't want there, because I do have that version, obviously. And I have the one with her notes in it. But it's just that I don't really like her tone in her notes because it's not helpful to me, in my opinion. I know that's what she was doing with her notes. So she'll be like, I think some things are obvious. And I suppose maybe editors don't work that way, which is fine if they don't work that way. But if we're editing and you see that I made a mistake and maybe I repeated something because I told you it was a revision, so some things moved in placement where it was going to be in the book and where it would have happened. So it's possible that it would be somewhere else. But that's why I have an editor, because that means I missed it when I did my revision and didn't take it out. But I don't need you to be like, didn't you already say this right here? Didn't you already say this right here? I need you to say, like, okay, well, I knew you noticed a revision. Take it the fuck out. I don't know. Like, did you do that? You didn't even do that. So you just left it there. So I still got so much to fucking do if that is the case. Because I knew it was a revision, but I'm like, I guess I didn't know. Then
it sounds like she was, well, at least it's just my opinion, but it sounds like she was being more of an alpha reader than an editor.
Maybe.
That's what my alpha reader does.
Because I first time working with an editor, paying somebody to edit my book, so I don't know what or how they do it. I know a lot of editors do stuff differently, but I don't know, because
it just sounds strange. But then again, we're not professional editors, so who knows?
Right, exactly. So it is what it is. But
you're talking about stuff being repeated or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My deja vu chapter in book 1, when my editor was editing that. I guess he didn't read the chapter title or something. Or I might not even have the chapter title. It might just be my chapter number or whatever. Mm. And he's reading that, and he's like, "You just literally, like, this is almost word for word what you had, like 2 paragraphs up." And he was like highlighted, selected, and then later on, when it starts repeating again, he's like, "Why are you repeating this?" And I just like sent him a message. I was like, "Are you feeling deja vu yet?" And when he got done, he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see what was going on."
Well, see, that
I was like, "Wait, I just read this."
Yeah, deja vu. While it worked, you feeling deja vu yourself.
Yeah, and see, that's something. Well, not that exactly, but like my alpha reader with book 3, there was a scene where there's a kiss, and I forgot they actually kissed. I thought I had stopped to kiss, and she goes later, and I guess later on in the book, the character's talking about almost kissing, and she's like, "Wait, didn't they kiss, or am I imagining things?" I could be imagining things, and I'm like, I go back, I'm like, yeah, they kissed. That was my fuck up.
Yeah, I had a character die in one chapter, and it was like just like something just kind of happened. It wasn't like a big ordeal or anything. It's just like, oh, he fell, died, whatever, and kept writing. And like 2 or 3 chapters later, I was writing, and I put his name back in because I was wanting his character still be alive. At that point, when I was writing, and he's like, "Are people coming back from the dead now?" I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "I remember like 2 or 3 chapters ago he died." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'll go back and fix that.
Let me go back and fix that. Right, that's useful because I get that. So it's just that I got like, I would want more in the note if it's, you know, plausible. I mean, I was expecting more probably. That's on me though. That part's on me, because if I expected more out of something than it was, because I've never worked with an editor, that's just on me. But I just don't think we're meshing personality wise. And that didn't just come in my head from just her edit, also from our messages as well a little bit, because if you're in a business and someone asks you a question and you, okay, like my computer, I'll give you an example. My computer was done. Like I couldn't get on it. I couldn't look at my contract with her or anything to get the price added, because the price changed because my book ended up being a little bit shorter once I edited stuff out that I didn't want it anymore. So they changed the contract price. So I need to get the total, because I was sending like the last payment, but the last payment was going to be not based to all the other payments have been. So I was trying to pay it on time, but I couldn't check my computer because it was in the shop getting fixed. And I messaged the person and I said, could you give me what the price so I can pay on time and pay the correct amount? Can you give me the price for the last payment when you get a chance, I can't check my computer. I said, well, I didn't write down. I just said, could you give me the last price so I can make sure I pay you the right amount? Like, literally 4 days went by, nothing. And I said, when you get a chance, could you give me the price so I can pay it? You know, blah, blah. And then it replies back, it's on your contract. I'm like, okay. Obviously, if I messaged you, I don't have where I can get to the contract because I'm not an idiot, because I know I have the contract. I'm a very organized person. So also the price is not on the contract because the price changed from what the contract was because our price wasn't the same because the price went down. So don't get an attitude with me because I asked you, who was in service, a question to give me a price. I'm trying to pay you. Do you want me not to pay you? Do you want me to send you under what you're supposed to get? So you could take the time, 4 days, and look up the contract that you can actually get to. So I said, okay, well, I couldn't get to the contract because my computer is in the shop. So when I get it back, then I will check the amount and figure it out if that's the case then. So let me go dig through emails and stuff. I thought it would be quicker at that time to ask you because you're the person I'm pretty much paying for a service from. So I thought maybe you would be quicker to get it because I'd have to try to dig through emails because it wasn't even in that contract and I would have to try to do the numbers over. But okay. So when I'm in service, if I ask me a question, I try to make sure I go, well, it's just me go above and beyond. If they ask me a question, I'm going to answer. I'm not going to be like, well, you should be able to just get that yourself. Obviously, I'm not just asking you for no reason. So that kind of pisses me off a little bit because of the service, like being like, you give me attitude because I want to pay you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, like Aphrodite said, because I was reading what she said, is that her editor would say why. That's what, my editors did. They would say, this shouldn't be here or this needs to be corrected and this is why. Not say some statement and then move on. I need to know why.
I was like, mine would make some like snarky little smart ass comments at times, but then he would explain exactly why and this and that. So
right.
I was talking about like, eyes went across the room.
Stuff, yes.
He's like, your eyes don't physically go across your room. Your eyes stay in your head and this and that. It's just figure of speech, whatever.
Tiffany said, of course, Stewie would forget characters die because he kills them.
So busy killing them.
He's so busy.
It's not like a main character or any character you follow or anything. So it's just like
Stewie's getting
background character that just happened to name.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll just throw a name in here, and it just kept going, and yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, it's going to be useful for me to fix the stuff, obviously, but it's just we don't mesh personality wise, so I really honestly don't see the hiring.
It wasn't an editor, but I had the same problem with the beta reader, and it was like slamming her head into a wall.
Oh man,
that's how bad it was. Like. You're reading my book, okay, right?
Yeah.
And this is the one that beta reader was actually reading, and it kept telling me things like, "Oh, people don't do this," or "This doesn't actually happen in reality." Right. I'm like, if I'm writing it, then people actually do it. I am 30 years old. I know what fucking people do.
Okay. When someone comes at me about what people do in fiction story or a novel with supernatural beings in it, I'm not even going to pay attention to what you're saying because. People do. They're supernatural creatures. How do you know what they do?
And on top of that, the thing is that everything I write is based off of experiences that I've actually had.
So apparently someone did them. But that's the thing. Now when you talk about supernatural, because I did with that, and she has said some things that were like too grounded in human things, and she was like, "Oh well, I don't think this," and also, they kissed at this point, but I don't think that Allison showed attraction enough to kiss him. Like, that's your opinion.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's cool. That's your opinion, but I don't mean I'm gonna change that kissing thing because everyone ready to kiss when they ready to kiss, and they may not have shown you anything. That don't mean that they didn't want to kiss you. You know what I mean? It depends on the person how they show their emotions. Not everybody says like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up in this kiss." Like
I'm gonna get up in this kiss.
Everybody's not like that. You know what I'm saying? So that was just an opinion, which is fine, but.
Well, it's the same thing like with my first book. I think Tiffany actually saw this comment. This person is like, well, religion doesn't actually believe that heaven and hell are real places. I'm like, what fucking religion are you in?
That's an opinion.
Yeah, I'm like, that's an opinion, but she was putting it like with fact. She's like,
Yeah,
you should
people
do
do
it this way
that.
because this is how modern religion works. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Maybe your modern religion.
Okay, like listen, person, you need to stop. You got to know the difference between your opinion and something that's it doesn't matter what you say. It's just what you feel about something. That's not relevant.
Yeah, and it's just like I specifically just asked you to read the book and tell me if it's good enough to be on the shelves. Don't pick at little things that are opinion based. Like, don't.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think we're gonna mesh now that I read more of her notes. I was gonna be like, well, I could give her a chance, but I don't really mind switching editors, obviously. So I'm going to
See, Tiffany said that chick, man.
Oh.
It was bad. It was just like, oh my goodness.
I don't know what people just whatever with things. It's just I wouldn't care so much when it's like my beta readers or whatever and stuff like that. But when I pay somebody, then I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, it got edited, but I hope she just did a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope she did a good job for what I paid her, because that's going to piss me off, and I'll be able to tell because I have very, very intelligent friends who could be editors. Aphrodite, who will be able to tell if she did a decent job, and if Aphrodite tells me that this is not even.
Oh, your readers are going to point stuff out too. Don't even.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
I know they will. I know if you read books like I can't read this book because of blah, blah, blah.
Dude, I literally read a book that was amazing. It was kind of like a nod to Psycho. Amazing book. I had to go into the review and say that this book is really good, but the editor did not do this author's justice because it was just badly edited.
Yeah, I mean, because you can tell when something is like, if I can read almost through anything, it has to be extremely bad for me not to be able to. So, oh my goodness. But anyway, this is my first time, everybody, with an editor. So, yeah.
Well, like Tiffany says, like opinions are fine, but
not in a matter of fact way, like she said. Like it's just not. Like you have to realize you're speaking an opinion, that it is not fact or truth. It's an opinion, and people, please do not come at me with it's my truth. There's no such fucking thing.
Yeah, it's an opinion.
There's no such thing. Please stop it with this new world stuff where you're talking about
my truth.
Our truth. Listen,
your truth is a lie.
Thank you. Just say that then.
Like you can shove that truth up your own ass.
The truth is in the middle. Here is your side and the other person's side, and the truth is in the middle. Like neither one of you guys got this straight. But the truth is the truth.
And then sometimes some things don't have a truth at all. They just are.
Some things things have facts. This is how a situation happens. And people see stuff from different, perspectives. Yeah. But that does not change what really happened, even if that's how you saw it. Yeah. So, in fact, we just need video so we can really see what happened because you saw it the way you wanted to. Also, have an opinion about a certain situation or thing that happened doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have your own truths and this is your truth over here. No, that's your opinion. So stop doing stupid stuff, please.
Right.
It's a real pandemic that's been going on around the world forever, and it's still going on. Stupidity.
And that's the thing, like with my alpha reader, which I love my alpha reader. We mesh perfectly. Like even with me reading her book, like we understand each other. And she'll straight up say when she says something, did you mean this? I think this word is wrong. I'm not sure. Or she'll be like, this, I'm just going to let you know this might be a personal preference, but to change this. So she makes it clear that it's just an opinion. Mm-hmm. And she's an amazing alpha reader. I'll just put it that way.
That's good when you got that though for alphas, but I should be good with my alpha, thank goodness. But yeah, so it's not that she edited bad. I can't say because I need to go through the entire book. But the notes are like they were fine for a while, but then some things it was like, okay, that's worthless. Okay, I wanted you to edit, like. Copy edit, like edit the grammar and edit like that stuff. Like I'm not, So
you didn't hire her as a developmental editor?
No, it's supposed to be a copy edit and a critique edit. which was the critique was separate from the copy edit, which she did the critique separate, and I read the entire critique, but then she has notes in her copy edit, which is whatever. But again, it's like, so I didn't necessarily expect her to like change story points or anything like that, but obviously make a note if I miss something. But I just don't like the way she's doing it. I just don't. But that's a personality like issue.
And that's valid. It's valid.
Fine, it's just that I just know we can't work in the future. It's fine that we worked together for this project, and I paid her, and I'm sure she did a good job for editing enough where like the grammar is better now. But just that's about far as it's going.
Now you know not to go with that one.
Yes, I do. That's sometimes the only way to go. After I do see your comment, Heather, hi. We were just talking about editors. I got my first book edited, and then I was just going through some of the notes and stuff, and then I just don't, our personalities aren't meshing. So, but that's okay. It is what it is.
Right. Last thing is, each book you do something different. Like book 1, my process changed dramatically. Like I just came a long way. So it's a learning process.
It is a learning process, so it's cool. No worries. Anyway, got a bit on a tangent there. Let's do the third question, which is the last question for the night.
We always do tangents.
The third question is, are you a last minute writer, a get it done over time writer, or a wham bam thank you ma'am writer? And that would probably be DL, because we know he writes like 20,000 words in one second.
Bastard.
So let us know what kind of writer you are. And I mean by these little sayings, I'm just being funny and quirky, obviously. But are you a last minute writer, meaning you finish your project at the last minute if you give yourself deadlines, or if you have a deadline for whatever reason, do you finish it like at the last minute because you're edge lord, like you living on the edge, like I like stuff to make my heart race, I need to hurry and finish it? Or do you
erotic writing process?
Get it done over time writer, where you take your time writing it, you're not going to rush it at all. You may write like 1,000 words a day or a week. You have no plan whatsoever how many words to write in order to finish this book, and you're cool with that. Or are you a wham bam thank you man, like I'm getting this done, I'm going to write like 15,000 words today, and I'm going to be done this book in a couple weeks kind of person? Or I'm going to be done this book, I have a goal and I'm finishing this book, and the whole NaNoWriMo thing, like I'm going to finish this entire book, I'm going to write 100,000 word book. Forget what they said, they talking about 50,000 words, I'm writing 100,000 words in this time period.
Like, I don't know who you think I am. My house.
What? I'm for real, I'm the real deal. What y'all?
That's Stewie.
So that's the examples of what I mean. So you guys can let me know which one of those you might be.
Probably the wham bam. I have a schedule. Like I have a publishing schedule. It is every 3 months on the 14th of that third month, and I stay on that publishing schedule all the way through.
Yeah. Tiffany said, "Get it done over time." Yeah, that's not bad. That's very calm.
I'm grown. Sorry.
I'm grown. Aphrodite said, "Wham bam." Oh, look at you. I know that you wrote like your short note. You wrote that one like.
I think she said 8 days.
Yeah, she did. I was like talking to her as she was doing that. So yeah, she really did. Let's see. It was at last minute. If it's someone else's deadline, whenever it gets done. If it's my own deadline, cool. Oh, so you like a last minute, like, listen, I'm on the edge when it's somebody else's, and then yours, you be like, listen, I'm laid back. Okay, let's get done when it's get done. You be like Stewart, be like, it'd be all right.
Yeah.
He was, I love the pressure. Yeah. Then don't say that to Alec, because that could be taken.
I love the pressure too. I'm telling you, this whole writing process is so erotic. You guys don't understand.
No, we don't. On Alec's world, we would. Aphrodite, I give myself a schedule and a goal and knock it out. Nice. Heather said exactly. That's not part of her job. Oh yeah, you mean with the editor when the beta being like a beta reader? Yeah. It just depends on how it goes. Because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I just expect something that wasn't the case, which is all. That's on me if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? I think our personality is the only issue I think I'm having. Like I don't think from her critique of the book, it wasn't a bad critique, but it's just the point that I wanted a critique of the entire book and not just like I felt like I got a critique of Allison. And she'll probably be like, well, that's who drew me in. That's fine. But you're not my reader. You're my editor.
Yep.
If you want me a critique edit, I need you to critique the entire story, not Allison's story that's in the book. I need you to critique the entire story as a whole because, but anyway, there's that. So that, it is what it is. You get what you get. Look after that. Last time I checked, I'm grown.
Bro.
Hey, Wendy. Oh, you're last minute. Last minute. Yeah, last minute put you on edge, man. I do that with some things, like projects. Sometimes I'll do it with projects, only because my schedule's super busy. So then I'll be like, oh, it can wait. It can wait. And it'd be like the day before. And I'll be like, God damn it. And I'm just, but I get it done, though. So it's still, I try not to do that, though, to myself.
See, I can't do things last minute because I will have a panic attack all the way up and like get time ticking away.
It doesn't feel good. It's not. No. I don't recommend it for anyone.
No.
It was that my courses for my BA ended on Sunday night. I did my term papers on Sundays. Sometimes 3 of them. Wow, look at you living on the edge there. No, I would just have a heart attack with that. No. Aphrodite said wrote encounters in 8 days. Yes, you did. Goal was 7 and published in 14. Goal was 14. Good job, Aphrodite. He said that's how I do my comments. Nice, Heather. Wait, that jumped. Someone said it was impossible to write and publish a novel in less than a month, and I said challenge accepted. Did it in half the time to the day. Yeah, you really did. And it was I'm talking to you, Alec.
Yeah, I just can't. None of that.
It's not fun. Yeah, we figured that. She really is a superwoman.
She really is. I'm still waiting for Stained. I saw your comment about doing it last. We're gonna have a talk. We have to have a talk.
Yeah, you're stressing my life out. I need the book. Stop.
I need the book.
Stop messing with me. Aphrodite.
By the way, one thing. Have you guys seen Cordy's video? She reviewed my book. I'm very excited. Very happy.
No, I didn't see the video.
Yeah, she put it up. I saw it today. I watched it. I'm like the second book she reviewed on it.
Okay, cool. Can you link me so I can look at it after we get off here?
Yeah, I definitely will.
Thank you. I should have your book done this week, and then I'll get on to doing the review for it. I'll probably do a live stream review because I like to do those.
Yay.
Yeah, I like live stream reviews. Okay, so I don't know if I even answered the question. So I'm kind of like, I changed over time because I definitely used to be get it done over time writer for sure. But now I'm kind of like the Wam Bam Thank you, ma'am. Because now I want to just get the stories done. Because once I started writing Cagliostro while I was like serious, then I wrote it within to me it was Wam Bam Thank you, ma'am, though, especially with my schedule. But I did it in like 2 months or whatever, but it was like writing off and on still. But I gave myself a goal and I stuck to it and completed it. It was like by my birthday, I had to complete it, and I did. So I was really happy with that. So I kind of wanted to change the type of writer I was as far as like how long it took me to complete a book. So I definitely would go with that. Well, how about you, Stewie?
I would say a little bit of all 3. If I set myself a goal, which I usually don't, but if I do, I'm a last minute because I'm like, I got time. It took 4 years to write, publish, and everything for my first book. And I wanted to do book 2 faster than that.
Well, you already finished it, really.
Yeah, it took 2 years to write the first draft of the first book, and I wanted to cut that in half. So I was going to do the second book in a year. So that was my goal. And then I took 2 months off. I took July and December off. And I didn't get it done until January, like mid-January. So I went over my goal a little bit just because I knew I had that goal. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm close enough. I'm close enough. It ain't no big deal. It's still a lot shorter than 2 years. And then the fact that I jump around projects, I guess it would be like over time, because The Gift of a Child, which I'm working on now, I started in like 2018, and then there's some others that I've started years and years ago or whatever. So
you
in
kind of
that
across the board
concept, it's still over time. I mean, I write a lot whenever I do write, but it's not just on one thing. It's always
right.
jumping around.
I think the overtime might be that one's fine, unless you George R. Martin and
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly working on something, and then eventually I'll probably get like a lot done all at once, so I can rapid release. But
yeah,
I need to worry about it.
Right. So
Well, see, the only reason why I'm able to rapid release is because one, I don't write 200,000 word books like somebody, and I'm throwing shade.
I haven't wrote that yet. I don't know what you're talking about.
Whatever. My book is like half the size of your first book. Okay. And
only like 108,000. So
mine is like almost 60,000 words. At least the first two are.
Mine was 63,000 words, but it got cut down to 50.
Yep.
I think the second book's only like 40 something at the moment. Of course, I know there's a lot of things I want to add into it.
Yeah.
So I figure it's probably going to be about 80 to 90. I don't think it's quite going to be as long as the first one.
Well, the first one, you're like doing heavy like world building. So, you know, it's given. But like, that's the only reason I can have the schedule I do, because I can write a 50 to 60,000 word book in a month. NaNoWriMo proved that.
Yeah, it definitely can be done.
It can be done. Hell, I fucking quit Nano like halfway through it and said, fuck it. And then that last day, I was like, all right, I'm doing this.
That was just beast. I was like, this fucking bastard.
Yeah, I was like,
man, came in with owned that shit. It was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. And like last day, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, he's like, no,
he was streaming that day. I just jumped onto the stream or whatever in the comments, and they talked about like how everybody was doing on last day. And I was like, I think I'm going to actually participate. I still got like 5,000 words to write. I'm doing this. And we had just like, I don't know. It was like in the afternoon or something. But I got like 8,000 words done before midnight. So I was like, yes.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean with the 3 months, because I have a month. I mean, it overlaps. So a lot of my books have already been written, but usually it takes me about a month to draft it, then another 2-3 weeks to revise, and then another few weeks for the alpha. So it's like things overlap, but it takes me a total of 3 to 4 months to publish a book.
Yeah, Heather. Yeah, she almost sometimes when I think maybe because let's say one thing happened in there that repeated, because I said it's not like it's just I wrote the book and then I edited and then I sent it to her. It was a revision, so some things that got changed, so something may have got left in there. But I definitely needed her to find it. But I think it's just the personality thing. You know how you can read people, even if it is through text, the way you say things, and it's mostly to relating it to maybe some other conversations that we had. So it's not necessarily like, okay, she's an editor and this is how editors talk. It's more like this is our personalities aren't going to mesh type of thing. You know what I mean? And then if you put that type of other comment, you weren't here when I talked about the other comment where she was talking about mothers, because one scene in the book, the female lead in the book mentions to the male lead that she apologized that his mother passed, even though it was a long time ago. And she goes on to say that it's not something that people should have to experience, losing a mother. And she pretty much said, like, well, everyone loses a mother. Pretty much everyone loses a mother. So there was no need for her to like say that kind of thing. But of course, that's an opinion. But she like edited out, like, or put it as a delete. Of course, I can always just put it back because it's that type of document. But that means our personalities are not going to probably mesh, because that's how she feels about that situation. These are supernatural beings, I should mention too. But that being the case, the female lead also lost her mother to being killed, and his mother got murdered as well. So that's why she would be probably very overly sensitive to that type of situation, and she commented on it in that way. And her saying in that note that, oh, well, you know, everyone loses their mother, most people, or something, she says, like, lose their mother, as to just say, let's just negate that because it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. Some things are irrelevant when you put them in a book and it's pointless, and you didn't need to put that or have that said. But I don't think that's that situation. That's an opinion about how someone should respond to loss, you know, grief. Like, you don't know how someone's going to respond to that. So I don't feel that I need to make it robotic or just matter of fact because people lose their mother.
No, what you should have done is been like, buck up, let's go.
Right. If she was right. If you go, you know what I'm saying? No, it's whatever. I know, and somebody like, well, you can contact her and talk about it. I really don't need to contact her and talk about it because we're not going to mesh his personalities. We're just not going to mesh his personalities. I don't really feel that I need to overly try. If we mesh, we mesh because this is meant to be the case. You know what I mean? But that kind of was that right there kind of made me be like, I don't think we're going to work because I don't think we're vibing because of just a few things. Like it's been like 3 things, but that's enough for me. Especially when I'm gonna be paying you. You're not like we're friends or anything. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? I have to give you chances. I don't have to give you a chance when I pay you.
Yeah.
I just don't. Especially when I pay you a lot of money. And she was a lot of money. So I'm not going to just go back in again just because, okay, yeah, she did a decent job so far that I can see. I won't know that for sure until I get someone else to look at it as well. But I'm not the type to be like, well, you should have did this because of this and I paid you. Look, I paid you. It was my choice. I paid you. You did your job the best that you can. That doesn't mean someone else can do it better. I can't say that. But I just don't think we're going to mesh personality-wise. So that would make me decide not to, use her again in that sense.
Well, one thing I did learn that might help you when picking a future editor is like my 2 editors.
Yeah.
Before they started editing the book, we would talk about what my purpose in the overall story was. Mm-hmm. And kind of, it's like they were kind of trying to read me to see my writing style. That way they can edit according to that. According to my voice.
I guess
they try to know your voice and your tone that you want to set for the story.
I guess the editor never asked for that because they figured they could just edit anybody's book without those questions. I mean, it's not like she had a questionnaire or anything.
Yeah, I would say just do that next time, and not necessarily a questionnaire, but just have a conversation about your personality, what you want out of that book, what you want out of her, and make sure he understands clearly what you're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that's me fishing around, not knowing exactly. And a lot of first things you do is trial and error, obviously. But I still think she probably edited well. It's just that I don't think our personality is going to match based on that. And I don't really want to sit there and have to explain myself in that way, as far as my character's personality. That's who Allison turned out to be. If she's emotional about mother loss because she lost her mother, he lost his mother, and that's one thing that connected them in that way, then I don't really feel that I need to explain that that's the type of person she is, just because you don't feel that way and you think that that's an irrelevant thing to mention because people lose their mothers. Like, I don't.
Well, like Heather said, which Heather is an actual editor, she said the same thing we did. That's a beta reader's type of opinion, not an editor. She said it further up.
That was that's what I was saying. So but of course I'm going to, for the second book, I'm going to shop around for another editor. That's just how I feel, because I don't think we're going to mesh as people, and I want to mesh with my editor because I know as a writer, and that's my career going forward. I would love to have the same editor like all the way through my rest of my career. When I find that person, I would love for that to be the case. And I know writers have different editors for different projects sometimes, but I would love to, find an editor that I can mesh with, because I know what DL going to be doing, like with her crazy self type of thing. Like they know what I'm probably going to be putting out, so they know what to expect my voice to be. So I would love to get to that point, obviously, but of course it takes time. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's the thing with me is like I have multiple editors because we, bartering like we've already discussed before. But at some point down the line, and I mean, those barter editors are going to be continuing to do that because they still need covers. But at some point, I want to have one editor who is good at it that I stick with, and eventually, start paying when my income gets better.
Oh, of course. But so that's just the way it is in the world as of an author. It's no biggie. I'm not like
I said, it's the world of working with people. It's just working with people.
Bad, my tip when shopping editors is to only accept charges for proofreading and the final edit. The right before published edit proofing is basic, and the first read catches the most. So new eyes. Yep, this is true. So I mean, the book technically was ready for an editor. Of course, as much as I could know. I did the revision. I edited it myself as much as I could at the time, or was willing to do. And then I said, okay, well, I did want to do the alpha run first, but it's something just didn't work out with that. And then I ended up doing the edit first, which is like, okay, I figured anything that I would have to edit after that, it can be done between myself and Aphrodite can help me with anything else I need to fix that's not, because it's been edited completely. So anything extra I add, and I can help Aphrodite can help me edit that where it's professional enough, because it's not going to be, I'm not adding anything where it's going to be like, oh, this is grammatically not correct type of thing. So I figured it's fine because the story was done. I didn't think I needed to wait any longer to get it edited, but it's just that it's just more or less our personalities. I'm sure she edited it quite well. I'm sure she did her job, because she's quite recommended as far as like doing her job that way. And she did do a sample edit before she did my book. So I did get her to do a sample, like a 2-3 page sample edit, and it was fine what she did. So I went with her based on that information that I had. I couldn't really get much more information than that. She had edited fiction novels and stuff like that, so it wasn't out of her realm. But once she gave me critique, then some things she said seemed a little out of the realm, because it seems like she can't connect to supernatural characters without grounding herself in reality. And a fictional story that's supernatural beings, you need to come to terms that this is not human stuff.
Yep.
Like, if you can't come with terms for that, then you can't edit supernatural fiction. That means you can't remove yourself from human issues, human-based things, unless the supernatural story is based on human things. Now, if it goes outside of that, then
like I have several characters that are human, but then I have the other half that aren't, so they're gonna have different behaviors.
I was reading one of her notes that threw me off a little bit, because I have in my book, everyone knows that it's the veil. So the veil in the human world. So the veil is where all the supernatural beings live and reside in my world. Okay. The veil is not what you may have read in other places. It's my book, my story. Even if you read something about the veil somewhere else, that's not what my veil is. It's called the veil, but it is not what you may know the veil to be. Even if there are similarities, as far as like, oh, the dead humans pass through here, but it's not where they stay. That's the only type of human that's supposed to come through the veil in my story, is a dead one. Okay. But she, like, when Cagliostro explains some semblance of the veil to Allison, she has a note in there that says, well, the veil is this. And I'm like, what you talking about? I don't think you wrote this story. The veil is not this. The veil is this in my book. I don't care where you read about the veil that you heard, because there could be a veil of every kind of anywhere, in a story. So if you read about the veil, it's not my veil. You see what I'm saying? So that note right there, I was like, yeah, we not gonna work, because I'll need you bringing whatever you read. That'd be like if I wrote a story about vampires. She was like, well, all vampires burn under the sun, and this isn't really gonna work. Like, type of note. Like, first off, that was someone else's story, not mine. Type of example. So we not.
I have the same problem with some readers, like beta readers and stuff with fantasy, because people approach different races differently and stuff like that. And I've had people ask why elves don't do magic, since there is magic in my world.
Right.
In my world, elves can't do magic. They're basically humans with pointy ears that can live
right.
1,000 years.
I mean, it's the same thing with my world, where that person that I said had this dumbest opinion, well, in my opinion, the dumbest opinion, about how I said heaven was a real place, but hell wasn't. And they're like, well, you can't, why don't you make both not real? I'm like, because it's my world. Shut up.
But because it's like, I can expect those type of questions in notes from beta readers.
Yeah. And
maybe even my alpha. I do not expect that from my editor.
Yeah, right.
I don't, not in the notes. So maybe in here critique, maybe, I don't know. But in edit, I don't really expect you to think that you're going to tell me about something that's in my story because this is what you heard about the veil. That's not relevant to what you do, what's happening right now. So no, as a beta reader, I would expect people to ask questions. Will be like, well, I heard this because I read I did your alpha. I had an alpha run for you, DL, and I was like, oh, DL, I read this, and then I didn't know. Then I asked you a question. I was like, DL, how does this work in your book? compared to what I have read in other stories. And then you explain to me how it works in your book. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense then, because this is your book. That's why I worded it as a question, like, how does this type of being work in your story? Because everybody writes different beings, different ways, whether they exist in a whole and like in our storylines and stuff, like elves, for instance. Elves exist, they have an elven language, blah blah, but that doesn't mean another guy isn't going to come up and be like, okay, these are how the elves work in my world, and this is a different type of elf language. That can happen. But because it's, you can do what you want. It's fiction.
You should have been like, this is my house, bitch. My house.
Yeah. So, hey, where you been?
What do you think you are?
The magic and the fact that liches magic aren't like necromancy or whatever. I've had people argue with me. It's like, well, liches, that's what they are. I was like, not always.
Yeah. So Aphrodite, I know you said I don't mind questions mainly because they may truly think I made a mistake, but you know how to word a question based to if you think a writer made a mistake that you're editing for. So don't come off be like, say the line like, well, the veil is this with humans, blah blah blah. That's not the note I need from you. If you want to ask me a question and say, so you're saying that humans, blah blah blah, in the veil in your book, is this what I'm getting from it? Like that, what I would expect from editor, but I don't expect you to be like,
say maybe some questions. So they know how it works. So like consistency, like going forward, so they know, okay, this is what I should expect. So if that's not right, I can correct her later on.
Exactly.
Not come up the first time and be like, no. Now, if it was something you had mentioned at one point and you made a mistake later on, like during a revision that might have changed or something,
right?
Like, I remember earlier, correct me if you were wrong or if I'm wrong.
Like what Aphrodite said down further below, she's like, well, the question about heaven or hell. And the thing is, it wasn't a question when she said it. It was, this is how religion is done now. Like as if everyone does it the way she does.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like that's not how that needs to be done. I'm not an editor, but I can figure out that you don't get to dictate. That was like you dictating to me what this should do because this is what you know of said veil. That's not my world that you know of, whatever you know of. So I don't know what you're getting at and what's the point of this note.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of go at it. Like they are right. Like the way editors or the way she was doing it sounds more like a beta reader than an editor. But even with my beta readers and alpha readers, I want them to tell me if they like the story and if there's anything that's off, but not the stuff that's off based off of personal experience of the world.
Thank you. And that's why her critique, I thought her critique was good in the sense that it was about Allison. So she went through the entire critique of Allison. She mentioned Cagliostro one time. Or twice, I'm sorry. She mentioned Cagliostro in context to Allison. And then she mentioned him one other time to say, like, oh, this part was really good in the story when he was with this dude and they were doing this. And then you didn't fucking critique the whole story. You critiqued Allison's timeline. Like, you critique Allison's story in the story. That's not what I wanted from the critique. And I'm like, I don't feel the need to go be like, contact her and be like, look, I didn't like your critique for my book because you only set Allison. What's the point of that now? I paid her to do her job. That's how she critiques. I'm not the type to go back. I just won't go back to you for service. But I'm not going to waste my energy and get upset with her and be like, listen, I need you to do this. And I'm going to argument with this because that's how she critiques. That's just what she does. She must have pointed out this character because she liked Allison and she was focused on a female. Because I can't tell who's going to be that person in today's world where like, I would like this better. Because if I was going traditional published, I could tell you right now with the current setting of things where they want to put female leads in everything and knock the male leads out, then for sure they would take my book and be like, you need to make Allison be the main character because that's really what's selling right now. And she's in the story good enough amount where we think you need to focus on her and make Cagliostro like the sub character and he could be the male lead, but he doesn't need to be the focal point. I already know that's where it will happen.
All my characters would have been made white.
Probably, right?
Because apparently only white gay guys can
I
be
can
on
tell
the
from her
Korean
critique
books.
that's really what she would have wanted to say if I was going traditional. She would be like, "Yeah, I like Allison, 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 Allison." I'm like, I didn't ask you if you only liked Allison. I didn't ask you to critique Allison. I asked you to critique the book. So I am a little disappointed in the critique as far as not being based to the whole book. So I have no idea right now how Cagliostro was received because she was focused on Allison.
I actually prefer male leads in books. That's just a personal
Well,
preference.
I prefer male leads because I do, but I have female leads in some of my books. But if my book is about the male lead and the book is situated around him, but there are sub characters that are very important to the story, but don't get it twisted. Everything that's happening in this book is about Cagliostro, even if it doesn't seem that way. Okay. So if you liked Allison, that's fine, but you are not a beta reader. You are not my alpha. You are a editor who did a edit. Critique the whole book, please, not just one character. Thank you.
Yeah,
So anyway.
I had a lot of alphas and betas, like from my first book, tell me that they wanted more Kalama in it. I was like,
oh, I had everybody tell me they wanted more
it's
Andrew.
every fucking chapter. There's a couple of like,
That's why I'm glad you liked them.
Right? And I liked Andrew too, but the story, okay, so I did put more Andrew. I took that advice, but the story was more about James.
Yeah.
And that's why Andrew's not. It's present.
Well, because it's not, but you can like whoever you want in my book. I'm not telling you not to, but I don't need you to do that as editor. I don't care who my betas like. They can whoever they want. They're readers. They're allowed to. But you, as an editor who's being paid, you're allowed to do your job. And you're allowed to critique my whole book and not who you like in the book.
She's just like, you're allowed to come in my house and clean it and then get the fuck out.
Pretty much. This is how pretty much. But anyway, that's just my
don't go through my underwear drawer.
All right, so let's go ahead and do one more sprint for the night. We're gonna do another 15, and then we're gonna come back and do our closings. And I will read through the comments while I'm in my 15 just to make sure I miss anything. But I think I'm up to par here. I think I'm up here because everybody mostly was conversating with each other mostly. So we will see you in 15. 3, 2, 1, and right. Have fun. Howdy, Devin. We are in a 15-minute sprint. We just went in. So if you want to write with us, please do. We'll be back in 15. And that's time. Yeah, we're back. I gave up reading more of my notes because I just can't tonight.
It's like I'm done.
I can't. I have to move on. I wasn't starting anyway the edit until May because I'm gonna do it in May, and then everything starts after that. So final edit, add in the last scenes is gonna be there, and then my alpha run after that with the amazing Aphrodite Lee, and I have one other beta as well, who's a friend of Aphrodite's. So I should be in very good hands for the alpha run for sure. And then I have my beta run after that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Thanks.
What?
Beta.
I know.
Wait, am I betaing or arc reading? I just know I want a physical copy. I don't know which one that is.
I will make sure you get a signed physical copy without doing anything. Okay.
Okay, that works.
my
You're getting a signed physical copy of my book, so
Right. I was like,
and it's the one you haven't read yet, so you'll be able to.
I know, right? Yeah. Can't wait for that. Yeah, so that's happening. So I figure, I had to stop being annoyed with people. That's okay. That happens. But yeah, so yeah, if you want to beta for me, yeah, you can. I would love that. Take this timer off. How did everyone do who wrote while we did a sprint?
I got 345.
There you go. Yeah.
Stewie's the only one doing work. He's the adult in the situation.
That.
Usually during these streams or any streams whenever I join them, it's like the only time I actually write. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm similar to Stewie on that. I took the month off from writing to focus on some of my other projects that I have. Because technically I don't have to, right? Because I did finish Cagliostro. So, but now that I have it back from my editor, I decided to make May the month that I do all the, scene adding and the other stuff to take out this irrelevant things like that. So that's what's going to happen with that. What? Whoa, Tiffany. What? Look at her. Look. 961. Take that, Stewie. Look, she thinks it's gone. She's coming for you. You said I wasn't even trying. What's going on?
Was it an entire erotic scene?
Very possible. This is very possible. Don't know. We should ask.
Mm-hmm. I see right through you.
Oh, cool, baby. Chatting with paranormal folks in a group. Nice. That's always good talk. Good talk. Look at Supernova like 0. Look,
love
that's
0.
the best number ever.
Yep. He wins.
So I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
I
one
do
is
it.
the loneliest number. 0 is the loneliest number because 0 is a circle and won't even let nobody in.
Exactly. Can't walk it behind that circle. It's my house, my circle.
Nobody getting here. Look, it's even over like, yup. I cannot. Oh, look, Tiffany's like, it was erotic.
I know. I got like an erotic radar or something. I can tell.
You should, because you write like 4-page sex scenes and stuff.
I can write longer. I just like.
I know you can. I know you can. I read your work. It's very good too. It's very good. Very well done. Yeah. Very well paced. I might say nothing repetitive whatsoever.
Oh no.
Nothing repetitive. You like, whoa, what's happening now?
You got to keep things interesting. It's like a Rubik's Cube. You just got to keep them on their toes or on their backs, whichever. Whatever. Or hanging off the side of the bed.
Like up on the headboard. I don't know.
Against a freaking utility closet. All those great places. I'm not. Listen. Any surface can be used for sex. Any surface.
This is true. I like wall. I like the wall scene.
That is fun. I've done that once.
Wall scenes. I do like that. I've done that. I like wall scenes in real life too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wait till you read the penis meets vagina scenes. You're gonna just be like, "Woo!"
Calm down.
Woo!
I need to get a fan ready because I will get one.
It gets pretty kinky.
Uh-oh.
Fun.
I like kinky stuff. So I'm getting excited. Stop. Yes, we do miss you, Supernova, because where have you been? Oh, you were off being a villain somewhere, weren't you? I have a feeling. I meant to check like the newspapers or something. What you been up to? I don't know. You are a villain, so super villain on top of that. Didn't go Nova on someone, did you? That's right. I'm playing with your name. I'm playing with your name. Heather's talking to me. That is how you talk to people. You are her customer. It's like customer service in any place of business. Really, it's going down the tubes. Yeah, well, that's true. You either have customer service or you don't. Like I was in customer service a long time, and I had customer service. So I know when someone's not giving it to me. So I'm like, yeah, you just either have it or you don't. You know what I mean? And you could read it. And I'm not in the mood for that. I could pay someone else who deserves it.
Yeah, I can't deal with anybody who's condescending, and I think that was my big issue with some of my beta readers.
I'm thinking that she's a bit condescending, and I don't appreciate that because when you condescend to me, it seems like you're trying to talk down to me, and I quite know how intelligent I am. Just because you're an editor and I'm a writer, and you found errors because that's what you're supposed to do, and you should be glad that errors exist because you wouldn't have a job otherwise.
Plus, you're only human.
Right, I'm human. Genius doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. Just so we're clear, like when people hear genius, they're like, "Oh, so what math equation do you do?" Be like, "Listen, my son, that's not how the brain works, and IQs either. That should tell you that you're not that intelligent." But anyway, but that's people go that route, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, you're an editor. You should be glad if I have like a lot of mistakes. You get paid more money because of the amount of words that I messed up on, whatever, And I think I paid a pretty penny for the amount of words that my book turned out to be when I gave it to her. She made pretty much bank, and then she had it for X amount of months because it was a payment plan, and she literally waited to the last couple weeks right before the last payment to even do it. So she was getting the money the entire time and didn't do any work, which is fine. She can do her schedule however she wants to. But I don't know. I feel a little annoyed. Which is fine because you can't. It is what it is. But I do feel a little annoyed. See, Aphrodite knows how much I paid. She said, "You paid a lot." I know. I really did. So if you condescend to me or come off that way, I don't appreciate it, especially when I paid you to do your job and not condescend to me.
Oh, I know somebody who I had to not talk her down, but like empathize with her because she hired an editor who also had a connection with the cover artist. So they kind of did it as a bulk, like a package.
Yeah.
The freaking editor and the cover designer are like, because the girl wanted to put a poem on the back of the book on top of the blurb somewhere. And it would have been just like a tiny little section of just a few lines from one of her poems. And they're like, well, books don't have that on it. You can't do that. And I'm like, you can do whatever the hell you want on your book if it works design-wise. They should not be telling you what you can or cannot do.
That's
unless it doesn't work design-wise.
Like if she wants to put a few lines on the back of her book cover, then she could do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that some of these paid editors are getting a little cray-cray. Like,
you need to calm down.
Calm your shit. Just
like she told me, like she was talking to me as again, like I was going traditional publishing, which is fine, but I wasn't, and she knew that. If she forgot, that's not my problem. But when she said, I have a forward in my book, but it's like a more of an epilogue, but it's really, really short. That was the 7 lines, the part where I put up on my Facebook the other day. So that's just at the very beginning of the book. It's a scene that happens in the past with his parents, like when it's like that's before his mother actually passes away. Okay, so that right there, she was like, no one really does epilogues or whatever too much or forwards or whatever and too much because they don't really like those. Like she's talking like it's a traditional publishing. I know they really don't like those in traditional publishing, whatever. But again, don't assume I'm doing traditional publishing if you didn't remember that I wasn't, and ask me if I'm doing that because that could be relevant to me doing it because I can do what I want when I self-publishing. And she was like, because it's kind of like I would think you should just get rid of it, which is fine if you think I should get rid of it, but it needs to be a valid reason why I need to get rid of it. And if you're like, well, if the scene doesn't, show back up in the book, then it's kind of pointless or whatever the case may be. I need something like that. I don't need you just to be like, well, because, no one really does those anymore. We don't really need those. And I think you should cut it. You thinking I should cut it is not a valid reason as an editor for me to cut it. You need to say, well, unless this shows back up in the book, then it's kind of like it's confusing for people or something like that. Or say like maybe you should put it in a past scene or something like that. If I didn't do that, just an example. That type of thing I need you to say as an editor. I don't need you to be like, I don't think that the people need to have those in there. The prologue, I mean, so not epilogue, the prologue. So a prologue, so she was saying that they don't really need those. I'm like, that's fine, because I have heard that in traditional publishing, but that's not. The world is not set that way anymore. We have.
Plus, I'm gonna have a prologue in both my child books.
Yeah, people hate the prologue thing, Ava, a lot, or at least the business side of like writing world does more so. I haven't heard it from like people who read books like, man, I really hate.
I've heard readers say it a lot because a lot of writers, especially like self-published ones that don't really take the time, they're just kind of doing it and putting it out there without much editing and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot of like info dumping.
Yeah,
it's literally just like they start the book wherever, and then they hear you start off with like an action sequence or something to get somebody's attention. So they just grab part of the book and throw it there. And it's like, oh, that's just like a.
The thing is, the point of the prologue is to show something that's maybe connected but separate from the book. It is also not supposed to be long. It shouldn't be as long as the chapter.
Right. Mine was really short. It's like literally 7 lines. So happened to be, that's why I used it yesterday. But it's literally 7 lines, and it's just a scene with Cagliostro with his mother. It's just, I was using it, and I could have used it wrong, which would have been fine if the editor told me that. I used it to also entice people when they open that, because they see that before they get to the first chapter. It gives you a little bit of inkling, like, okay, Cagliostro's not normal. This is a relationship he's having with his mother. You get a little taste of that. But his mother isn't dead at the beginning of the book, because that was like hundreds of years ago that scene happened. I don't go back into the scene, but like there are flashbacks in the book of when his mother died, so it is in the book and everything like that. But that scene was only in there to show you their relationship at the beginning of the book before the story starts. Plus, it is something that did happen in his past that was relevant to just showing like who he is, to entice you to continue into the book before you get to chapter 1. I could have used it wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have used it that way, but that's literally was just the beginning. But she was saying like I should just take it out without any explanation of why. I wanted it to be like, okay, this is the first page they see before chapter 1, but I want them to be enticed. Like, okay, who is he? Like, okay, he just shot some power out and burned some trees. Like, what is he? And his mother's trying to console him because he's not accepting of himself. Because why is he like this? You know, you're born to who you are, and you can't change that. But he's just upset that he's hurting anything with who he is, you know, because he was just training, but he hurt other creatures and stuff, and he wasn't very happy with himself, you know.
Well, that's the thing is, that little 7 lines you wrote, that was perfect because it made me wonder what the hell was going on. Like with my prologues, they're not very long, but they make you wonder. That's why I don't go into long, drawn-out details of the prologue.
I think that's unnecessary, obviously, and that's something like that would have to be addressed. But yeah, it is what it is. Everybody has their opinion, but I'm like, I'm not really paying you for your opinion so much as I need you to tell me the professional things that my readers are not really there for. They're to like, oh, this story's good. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this, but I like this. I really like this. I didn't need that from you. I need the professional edit from you because that's what I want to pay you for. I don't need you for that other stuff because people will read books. They will read books. I don't need you for that. And that's what I felt like I got a majority of. So I'm kind of like a little disappointed, and I'm gonna go through the whole book, and I hope that she edited, but that missing that one word at the beginning and interpreting and not even attempting it or asking a question about the word, because obviously it would have been out of context because it wouldn't have fit with the line. So you didn't even question it and just felt that it was, since it was spelled correctly but the wrong word, that it was fine there. It didn't fit. I read it. It was like, okay, it's supposed to be chartreuse. And I'm like, and then Aphrodite was like, oh, there's a typo, and I'm like, oh, it is a typo. And then she caught it. I was like, oh, okay. But then I was looking, I'm like, this is from my fucking edited version. Like,
yeah,
on the first page, like, really? Okay, I understand you're not perfect. I don't expect you to be, but the first page though.
Well, I know like a lot of the editors, especially the ones that charge more, I think they're like heavily focusing on TradPub because TradPub has a lot of standards that most writers, unless they're TradPub, don't want to do. That's why so many authors go to self-pub.
Yeah, I get
Because,
that.
don't write a prologue. You can't write a prologue ever, even though more than half readers love prologues. Like there's a lot of people.
I never ever had a problem with it, and obviously I would buy a lot of writers' books since I own 5,000.
Yeah, I love prologues. I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Yeah, I was about to say, I like them. I just know a lot of people, especially that go self-published, that just don't really, care. Just
Yeah.
info or just try to do all
Oh, I
the
can't
world
stand
building in the
okay.
prologue, and then you're reading is like, yeah, I'm just not reading this and skip over it.
Yeah, if it's gonna be like, listen, if your prologue is like 5 pages, I'm not.
And see, that's what I
Well,
like.
my prologue for The Gift of a Child is going to be, I don't know, it's probably about the same length as some
If
other
it's
chapters.
relative to the story, I'm not like most people. If I will, I speed read, so 5 pages of a prologue isn't a big deal to me, but it may be to a lot of people. They're not going to read that; they're going to skip it. But I will read it in most cases because I'm a book reader, so I like reading the entire thing. I don't want to miss anything because I think whenever I read a prologue, I was like, "Oh, this is relevant to the story." And it's going to give me a clue, possibly. It may not be continued in one later in the story because some people use a prologue for that. I didn't use mine for that. I didn't even put the scene back in the book, but it's part of Cagliostro. So you see that, but that doesn't mean it's not going to show back up in the series because this is a series. It's not a one-hit wonder. So just because you saw it there in the prologue there, sometimes I put little things in stories so if it's a series that I want you might remember it later when it comes back up in another book. Kind of like where you did a scene in your first book, Stewie, and you were like, do you know who that is? When
the epilogue, yeah.
Right. So that type of thing. And I'm like, wait, who is it? What happened? That type of thing. And you remember stuff.
Well, I've noticed a lot of readers want you to like explain, like if you make any Easter eggs or if you throw in a hint of something, they want you to explain it right then and there. And it's like, why don't you let yourself question what the hell happened for a little while?
It's okay for you to question it. It's okay for you to question
I don't need to answer your question right then and there.
Yeah, Aphrodite, you're right. You said you can have a long prologue, but the length doesn't matter. It's the info in the prologue that matters.
Yeah, I do prefer slower prologues, but if it's info dumping, I will not read it at all.
Yeah, if it's info dumping, then obviously that needs to not happen.
That's I know for my Of Child series, I sent y'all the one for the Ballad of a Child, or at least Tillery and Aphrodite. That character is not a main character. It's just kind of invent, and you see that character a little bit later on, or whatever, as a prisoner, and that's just kind of showing you basically what he went to prison for, or whatever, got in trouble for.
Yep.
But the first one, the prologue is longer.
Yeah.
But it happens like the night before the first chapter, so it goes like from the prologue to the first chapter, so it goes over.
Yeah.
Connected like a normal chapter would be, except it's from a character that you're not following the rest of the story. Because for those stories, you're only following one character. It's not like my Metagore series where you're following 20, 30 fucking characters. It's just one person. So since it's written from a different person's point of view or whatever, that's why I put it as a prologue. And you technically don't need that information for the rest of the story. But later you're like, oh, well, okay, yeah, I see where this comes in or whatever, top or down.
Exactly. So I mean, it's all about how you do it. So I wouldn't be sure if I would done it right, but if I hear a few people say, "Oh, this is what I'm gonna leave it," because I like the scene. It shows the emotion that could be in the book before you even get into it. And then the relationship between
something else I want to kind of set that dark tone or whatever.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, you know that he's something's going on with him. Okay, his mother and his father at that point. He's young at that point too. So he's learning and trying to train, and he makes that, he does his power, but he's so powerful he didn't realize that would happen. So that was the whole scene. That was the only point to draw you in. That's what I used it for, to draw people in before they even get started. And the chapter starts with Cagliostro anyway. So it's not like you can probably link that maybe that was him, type of thing. So it's to intrigue you, nothing more.
And see, that's what it was with my first book. Like, it's very short. And honestly, that's like my favorite part because I went over that scene so much. It's literally just the scene of the plantation burning. It's that short. It's burning. And then you go to chapter 1. So I like that. Like, what the hell just happened? Let's start the story and you'll find out later.
Yep. Dude, man, I don't know. But anyway, I got off on a tangent about the editor thing. But anyway,
it's fine.
Yes, I got to vent sometimes. I don't really do that too much about writing stuff unless it's writing.
I love venting.
I know you do. You
I
do
love
so
it.
well.
'Cause I'm extra and petty.
You do so well. All right, so we can go ahead and do our closings, and everybody's talking to each other in the comments. So I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody, but like you guys are chatting it up together. And Supernova, I'm glad you are safe, especially with the craziness that's going on in the world, and we all are fighting through this to keep our heads above water. So I hope everyone is safe out there for sure. And I will be thinking of you, of course. And stay strong in these crazy times. Alrighty, Alec, you want to go ahead and do your closing?
All right. Well, again, I'm A.L. Williams. I am the author of Immortal Scars and Hopeless Scars, which are both available, on Amazon. I am currently in the process of publishing Shameful Scars, which should be out in June. And I'm also in the process of editing Eternal Scars. I'm looking for beta readers for Eternal Scars, so if you're interested, just hit me up.
Oh, yeah. All right, DL.
D.L. Stewart. My debut novel, The Battle for Medagore, is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and a bunch of other places. But anywhere you look, it should be there. It's out. Sovereign Duties is still out to alphas at the moment. I got most of them kind of back. I'm still kind of waiting, I think, on 2 people or whatever. So I'm still kind of waiting on that. And I might get started on revisions next month or whatever for it. I got social media. I got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Patreon, a website, newsletter, all that fun stuff, a YouTube channel. Everything's D.L. Stewart author. And yeah, I know I haven't posted a video the past couple weeks because my video editor messed up, but I'm hoping next week's video should be up. I think I kind of got it figured out, so should be able to start.
On that, Stewie.
Throw one thing in. Fucking Chase.
I was going to wear that shirt again tonight. I remembered it right before this, and I haven't done laundry since last week, so I was like, oh, I don't feel like.
Yeah, I had my shirt. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna wear it tonight.
I have to say it at least once through every stream. It's just
you
the way
have
it
to say it. Fucking Chase.
Fucking.
If I remember, I'm going to
We're advertising for Aphrodite's book.
Team Chase.
Shattered. If you don't know who Chase is, you should know by now.
Yep.
Aphrodite, thank you. So I'm glad my prologue was good and intriguing and made you ask questions. So that's what I wanted. I would appreciate if you would ask me as my editor, be like, what did you mean by this prologue? What did you want to do with it? Those type of questions would help me as a writer, not you telling me I should just get rid of it and don't give me any explanation why it should be gone.
I think they just vomit that you should get rid of it. Like, they're not actually thinking about it. They're just like, get rid of it.
Just get rid of that. No one likes this.
Trad Pub said so because the gatekeeper said so.
That's right. Like, listen,
I'm not bitter at all.
Yeah, really though. All right, well, I'm author DL Tillery, and we do these streams every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and run sometimes 2 hours, 2.5, whatever we're feeling like. We got some really good talks going on here. Usually, a 3-question thing usually leads us into these lovely answers. And we always do sprints. We at least do 3 sprints, 15 to 20 minutes, depends on which way we go. Been doing 15s for a minute now. Really depends on my time allowed it. So, yeah, as you know, you can find me anywhere on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a website. I do poetry usually once a month on my website. I would like to write that. I have a new one coming up because I'm back to writing with Writers Unite. So it'll be published also through their website, which I like doing that because it gives me a prompt to do. And I usually have a short story or something like that on my website that you can check out if you want to check out some of my writing. I write horror, fantasy, romance, paranormal. I like to say supernatural as well because paranormal and supernatural are not the same thing, at least in my world. So we will see you next Tuesday. If Stewie does his Sunday one, I'm going to try to jump on with him. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But if not, then make sure you do go over to Stewie's channel to see if he's streaming on Sunday at 7 p.m. Your time is Eastern Standard Time as well, right? EDT, I should say right now.
Well, I do it at 7. I'm in Central.
You're 7, right?
7 Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, yep, check Stewie's stream out, and we're here every Tuesday. So, I usually have a video on Saturdays for my Mistress of Horror series, all about horror stuff. I'm trying to get my video up this week. I had a little blurb happen that did not work out with the Saturday video. So I should have my new one should be up this coming Saturday though. I'm going to be talking about vampires. Vampires. So I get very passionate about vampire stuff.
I love vampires.
And people with their like
Don't even get me started.
Vampires with the sun. Like, if they don't burn in the sun, then how was it a vampire?
It's like, how are they going to have consequences? I'm pretty sure being an immortal is a consequence.
So we're going to get into a talk. You know, I haven't even decided. Maybe I'll do it live.
Do it. I will rant with you.
Good, man. I might do it live and then talk about it. Like, listen, this is what I feel because I'm the Mistress of Horror, and I know this is my thing, and I'm going to say what I want. And listen, I know a lot about vampire lore, and your opinions don't mean nothing. Just so we clear, don't mean nothing.
Make me send Louis to your house. He will
listen.
Your ass.
There's all kinds of vampires. It's okay how people want to write vampires, okay? Because you don't like it, and you know lore has been around for a long time, and there's a lot of different versions. Yes, you may not like vampires that sparkle, as you like to say, but that was not done only when Twilight came out. It is in vampire lore, and it's just a thing. It's not really sparkling so much as diamond type skin that the sun hits and makes it shine. They want to make it sound worse than it is because they wanted to make fun of it. But where do you get off making fun of somebody else's stuff anyway? Because guess what? If you're a writer, someone could be making fun of you all too soon.
Right. Plus, I think they didn't explain it well in the movies compared to the book.
It's a movie though, so since when do they explain anything in a movie?
Listen, Interview with the Vampire. They explain a lot.
Don't even get me started about movies not explaining stuff and cutting stuff out that the book explained. The worst one is Lord of the Rings with Tom Bombadil being cut out of the story.
Oh, really?
And Frodo being in the woods with the ring with the other hobbits, and then magically after the what you call them, they find them on the side of the road, and then they just like, oh, they're gone, the Witch Kings are gone, and then Frodo and them are magically at the tavern at the village gate, and they're like, oh, and they get in. That's not what happened. Tom Bombadil.
That happened. That sounded kind of weird.
Because Tom Bombadil is like the god of the world in Lord of the Rings. They took him out because they didn't want to mention anything to do with a god. Because they were very sensitive about that time. That's irrelevant. This is fiction. Relax, okay? He's pretty much the god of the world. Pretty much, they don't directly say it, but it is implied. But without Tom Bombadil, the hobbits would not have made it to the tavern where they met Aragorn.
Well, that
happened. They would have died in the woods. The woods would have killed them. The woods attacked them. They wouldn't have made it. Tom Bombadil wasn't happy and jolly and coming through the woods and picked up the ring and was like, what's this thing? I don't really care about this, and tosses it or whatever. If he wouldn't have helped them, they would have been dead. Frodo, Sam, and his two little elf friends, they would have been over. So they took that out. In the movie, they just made it to the village. Magically, nothing happened. Oh, let's take that out. That character is irrelevant. Okay, movies, whatever you say. We were cut for time. That's not why you took them out, so stop.
It's one of the reasons why I think they should just stop making movie adaptations.
They can't. You know, it does help the book sell, but I don't think you should take out prominent characters for your own.
Or let the author have more say.
I mean, I understand cutting scenes because you can't put everything in, but do not cut out prominent characters for your personal reasons. Just like, don't get started with J.R. Martin's show. Don't get me started with that when you cut out the was it Catherine Stark, when you cut her out when she became the zombie queen because you wanted to ground a fantasy story in human reality. That's funny since you left the dragons in there. Oh, and
brought other people back to life. So
right, thank you. Let's cut her out because that's just too much. The zombie ghoul queen, we can't have that. We got
the same thing with that book Blood and Chocolate. It was technically a YA book, but they completely changed the premise, which was the whole point of the book. I got so livid. I'm like, that was an important premise. Why did you change it?
I mean, I know it wasn't Peter's fault, Aphrodite. It's not like he would be the only one making a decision. But we all know really why they cut Bombadil out. And it was simply because he was the god of the world. That's all it was. Because there would be no other reason to cut that. They could have left that one scene in with him in it. Because he wasn't in the book that much.
They were very ambiguous.
They were very important parts. So they should definitely not. That changed the whole story. Not to mention they changed Lord of the Rings' entire story. They focused too much on Aragorn. It was like, Aragorn, instead of being like, this is a story about the small people making a difference in a big world.
They had to make the human important because a human. They had to.
Sure.
Of course. That's what they did with Blood and Chocolate because in the book, the human pissed himself when he found out she was a werewolf. Like he made a fool of himself.
Oh, I read the book, so I know.
Yeah. And then in the movie, they make him the good guy. I mean, really? Like, really?
That's a little too much. Like, you need to stop. Stop telling the novel writer.
I'm sorry, but humans are pathetic. Just do it.
So you're gonna make me mad. Stop it.
I will punch some walls, damn it.
And flip tables. We'll flip tables and punch walls.
Yeah, I should be like the table flipper at like movie studios when they fuck up, just flip a table. That'll be their cue.
Shit up in the air.
Go to all the round table readings and stuff. No,
And
that's not what the book said.
Tossed around table like, God damn it, this is done.
Y'all don't need scripts, just use the fucking book.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Stay safe out there. Bye.
Oh, you have a pen?